Chapter 83. Ning Cheng saw that Ji Luofei did not seem to have heard his words, and quickly asked again, Luofei, what the hell happened? I remember that when you left the Tsongqing province, you were already at the Qi Gathering 4th level, right? Why was he still at the Qi Gathering 5th level? You even came to the Thunderfall Desert? He had thought of countless possibilities, but he had never imagined that he would not even have the time to activate his Thunderfire Talisman. His long hook-type artifact was not able to block the profound ice spear shadows for even a moment. It was not even able to transform out, before it was taken away by the other party. Luofei, are these people chasing you? Ning Cheng stared at the 4 cultivators in front of him and asked, among these 4 people, 2 of them were at True Condensation 1st level, 1 was at True Condensation 2nd level, and the last one was at Qi Gathering 9th level. Ning Cheng we. Ji Luofei on Ning Cheng's back called out in a trembling voice. She felt that something was wrong. What was going on? Did he not die? If he did not die, then how could he meet Ning Cheng here? How could Ning Cheng kill 4 such terrifying opponents in a single breath? Ning Cheng was just about to speak, when he found that he unexpectedly met people again. This time it was not 1 person, but 4 people. Initially, when she had carried Ning Cheng back, she had thought that Ning Cheng had already died. Later, when Ning Cheng came back to life on her back, she did not feel even half a shred of surprise. For her, Ning Cheng's life or death really had nothing to do with her. As long as Ning Cheng was alive, she would take care of him, but if Ning Cheng died, she would bury him. The other 3 people simply did not need this True Condensation 2nd level cultivator to speak, as they had already blocked Ning Cheng's path. One of the True Condensation 1st level cultivator leapt high into the air, and raised his hand to grab Ning Cheng's head. Puff, the True Condensation 1st level cultivator who had carelessly leapt over Ning Cheng's head, simply did not have even half a shred of resistance, and was directly torn into pieces by the profound ice spear shadows. Ji Luofei did not seem to understand, and for a moment forgot to answer Ning Cheng's words. She had just been chased by these 4 people, so how could she come back? Ji Luofei still did not speak. How could she not know that returning to the Thunderfall Desert was a dead end? But where was she going? She was just a cultivator at the Qi Gathering 5th level. Where could she go? Even if she were to leave the Falling Star Academy and change to another place, she would only be able to live for a few more years. With more than 20 spear shadows, Ning Cheng only used them to deal with the 2 True Condensation 1st level cultivators. As for the Qi Gathering 9th level cultivator, Ning Cheng did not even use a single profound ice spear shadow to deal with him. He just blasted out a punch. The fish that slipped through the net has returned, and there's one more. A hoarse voice exclaimed in surprise. Bang! In front of Ning Cheng's axe fist, the Qi shield that the cultivator at the Qi Gathering 9th level had condensed was like a piece of paper, and was instantly torn apart. Ning Cheng's axe fist without any reservation exploded on the body of the cultivator at the Qi Gathering 9th level. Blood splashed everywhere. The cultivator was blown a few dozen feet away. When he fell to the ground, he was already a corpse. This True Condensation 2nd level cultivator was always on guard. When Ning Cheng made his move, he immediately brought out the half-moon-long hook in his hands. Ji Luofei simply did not hear what Ning Cheng said, as she subconsciously wrapped her hands around Ning Cheng's neck, and unexpectedly burst into tears. She was not happy that she did not die, but she was happy that Ning Cheng did not die. That day when I carried you back, I did not care about your life and death. I am sorry, Grandpa Ning, I am sorry. Ji Luofei's voice was very small. It seemed that she was still blaming herself. Ning Cheng sighed and did not continue to talk about this. He just asked, Luofei, do you know that in the Thunderfall Desert, even if it was a cultivator at the Essence Building realm, without a clear route, they would still fall in this place? You are only at the Qi Gathering 5th level. Once you return to the Thunderfall Desert, I really do not know what to say to you. She understood the meaning of Ning Cheng's words, but Ning Cheng did not understand what she meant. Even if an E was by his side, her cultivation speed would still be much faster than Ji Luofei's. The Qi Gathering 9th level cultivator's reaction was also very fast, but the killing intent of the axe fist directly wrapped around him. Even if his reaction was fast, in front of such strength, it was just like floating clouds. Although a level 3 Thunderfire talisman was incomparably precious, but compared to his life, and in his eyes the profound Great Spear technique, this Thunderfire talisman was nothing. Ji Luofei subconsciously pinched him. She had forgotten that her hand was still on the back of Ningcheng's neck. Ningcheng felt a burst of pain, and immediately said with a bitter face, "Luofei, you pinched me." But after that day, she kept thinking about Ningcheng's shadow in her mind. He was the only person who was willing to die for her, and was even her fiancé. Looking for her parents was a long and uncertain journey. But Ningcheng was in the Tsongqing province. Moreover, she knew that once she left, Ningcheng's chances of survival would be very slim. Ningcheng knew that the reason why the other party said those words was because he had seen his 36 profound ice spear technique, and even recognized it as a profound grade spear technique. He estimated that he was not his opponent, so he was terrified. The distant true condensation second-level cultivator had already reacted. At this time he was holding a half-moon long hook magic weapon that was glowing with a blue light as he stared at Ningcheng. Ningcheng once again looked back at Ji Luofei and smiled. "Luofei, you did not feel sorry for me. If not for you, perhaps I would have already died." Originally, he wanted to use the half-moon hook magic weapon to block Ningcheng's profound ice spear light, and then activate the level 3 Thunderfire talisman in his hands. In his view, even if his Thunderfire talisman could not kill Ningcheng, it would at least seriously injure Ningcheng. Ji Luofei did not answer. Ningcheng also knew that Ji Luofei was being chased by these people. The long spear in his hands brought out a spear light, which completely enveloped the three people. Ningcheng raised his hand and put away the 5 elements treasure fall copper coin. He was secretly shocked in his heart. This copper coin was simply too terrifying. He had only refined a single layer of the restrictions, and it was already this terrifying. Once he refined all the restrictions, wouldn't it mean that as long as it was a magic weapon of the 5 elements, he would be able to kill it? Fortunately, he still had the 7 Pleiades ice needle, otherwise he would have already died under the hands of this 5 elements treasure fall copper coin. Ji Luofei just hugged Ningcheng tightly, and did not answer Ningcheng's words. Ningcheng was helpless. He could only pick up the things of the cultivators that he had killed, carry Ji Luofei on his back and quickly leave. No one knew what was in her mind, and she would not tell anyone. Ningcheng patted Ji Luofei's back and said, "You should be happy to be alive, don't cry." Luofei's qualifications were not bad. Previously in the Tsongqing province, there were simply no cultivation resources, but Luofei was able to cultivate to the peak of the Qi gathering 3rd level. It was reasonable to say that her aunt Ji Yao he had brought her to the Hua continent's 5-star academy. With a variety of cultivation resources and guidance from a famous teacher, she should have already broken through to the late stages of the Qi gathering realm. After a long time, Ji Luofei finally spoke from behind Ningcheng. "I'm sorry, Ningcheng." Holding a talisman in his hand that was only half activated, this true condensation 2nd-level cultivator could not believe that he had died so quickly. Ningcheng scratched his head in shame and said, "Luofei, you must not think like that. In case you meet a bad person in the future, they will pretend to be good to you. If you think like that, then you will definitely be fooled." Ningcheng knew that if Ji Luofei had not promptly carried him back from the entrance of the prison, then it would have been really hard to predict what would have happened to him. If not for the 5 elements treasure fall copper coin, he believed that he would not have been afraid of this true condensation 2nd-level cultivator. But with the help of this magical weapon like this copper coin, things had become too simple. But this long hook had just been brought out, and had not even had the time to turn into a defensive line, when it was taken away by a huge copper coin. This true condensation 2nd-level cultivator could only helplessly watch as the profound ice spear shadows completely submerged into his body. Ningcheng looked back at Ji Luofei and smiled. "Luofei, I do not know how you came to the Thunderfall Desert from the Hua continent, but you do not have to worry about it. We are all alive and well, we did not die." Ningcheng was silent for a moment and then said, "Luofei, you do not have to blame yourself. I was very fierce to you before, so it is normal that you did not care about me." Ningcheng did not even have the interest to speak. As the 22 profound ice spear shadows once again swept out, the vast expanse of white profound ice spear shadows once again formed into a huge profound ice spear net. and directly sealed the true condensation second-level cultivator. But in his heart he felt a bit strange. In his original memory, Ji Luofei had never cried because of anything. This was the first time that he had seen Ji Luofei cry. Ji Luofei was silent. After a long time she spoke in a low voice. I am not a fool. That true condensation second-level cultivator did not move, and just spoke to the other three people. Kill the man, but leave the woman. We have been in this desert for more than half a year. It is already so dull that it is like a bird. Just a moment ago I accidentally killed the two of them, although this one is ugly but her figure is still good. This stretch of yellow sand instantly turned into a layer of ice, as more than 20 profound ice spear shadows instantly formed into a huge spear net, as it wrapped around the three cultivators who had just arrived. He is not a cultivator at the Qi Gathering 7th level. Another cultivator at the True Condensation 1st level had just spoken a few words. When more than a dozen profound ice spear shadows wrapped around him, he only had enough time to bring out his ring blade type artifact. He was not even able to stimulate it, and was swept away by more than a dozen profound ice spear shadows. More than 10 blood arrows sprayed out, and in an instant formed more than 10 icicles. She wanted to go to the Tsangqin province to look for Ning Cheng. It was a wish that she had after leaving the Ping continent on the airship. In case she managed to cross the Thunderfall Desert, she would even have the opportunity to return to the Tsangqin province. In case she died in the Thunderfall Desert, at least she would be a bit closer to the Tsangqin province. I did not think that you would actually be a true condensation cultivator. Since you are a true condensation cultivator, then even if these misunderstandings occurred, then let it go. From now on we will not have anything to do with each other. When this true condensation second-level cultivator spoke, his eyes were staring at Ning Cheng, while he slowly retreated. No. Ji Luofei immediately denied Ning Cheng's words. I later came to know that you are the best to me. Since my grandfather passed away, there has never been anyone who was as good to me as you are to me. If it was before Ning Cheng took her out of the Tsangqin 2-star academy, and she did not know that Ning Cheng was this good to her, then she would have tried her best to find cultivation resources to continue cultivating, and then go look for her parents. Chapter 84. Seeing Ji Luofei not speak, Ning Cheng also did not continue to ask her. He was thinking about Ji Luofei's words. Ji Luofei said that since her grandfather passed away, no one had been so good to her. But thinking about it, he did not think that he had been good to her. If there was one thing that might have moved Ji Luofei, then it was at the back of the Tsangqin 2-star academy, when they were stopped by two late-stage Qi Gathering cultivators, and he had asked Ji Luofei to go first. If that was the case, then it was really too shameful. At that time it was obvious that if the two of them did not go, then they would have died. He had asked Ji Luofei to go first, but it turned out that even if Ji Luofei went first, he would not have been able to stop the two late-stage Qi Gathering cultivators for even half a minute. Luofei, if you are talking about that day when we escaped, in fact, even if I did not do that, I estimate that if your aunt did not come, then we would have died. With my strength, there is really no way to stop those two people and let you go, not to mention that you did not want to go. After Ning Cheng thought about it, he simply said, Star-shaped poplar tree. Not waiting for Ji Luofei to answer, Ning Cheng was pleasantly surprised and stopped. This star-shaped poplar tree was the 6th desert mark on the map that he had given to Tai Shu Shi. Following the largest corner of the star-shaped poplar tree would be the correct direction. Moreover, if he walked straight for about 3 days, he would see a small desert oasis. We will rest here, Ning Cheng said as he put down Ji Luofei. Finding the new mark on the map, Ning Cheng was really relieved. He knew that as long as they followed the correct route, the danger would be minimal. In a short time, Ning Cheng had set up a simple tent. Luofei, you go inside the tent and rest. I will look around and also rest. Ji Luofei was just exhausted, and did not suffer any serious injuries. Ji Luofei looked at Ning Cheng for a while, until Ning Cheng touched his face with his hand. She said a baffling sentence, I will not go. Looking at Ji Luofei enter the tent, Ning Cheng helplessly shook his head. He also washed himself and changed his clothes. Then he began to arrange an array formation around the tent. When Ning Cheng finished arranging the array formation, Ji Luofei came out of the tent. Her face was still the same as before, with a few extremely ugly knife scars. But Ningqing felt that this Ji Luofei was completely different from before. Her clothes were still the same set of clothes, but she had used the clear water method to wash it, and even her hair had been rearranged by her, and was tied into a beautiful bun. Ningqing only knew that this bun was very good looking, but he did not know what kind of bun it was. She tied a knot on her torn dress, which matched her slender waist, making her look even more pure and beautiful. It was obvious that Ji Luofei, under the limited conditions, had dressed herself up. In Ningqing's current and past memories, Ji Luofei seemed to have never deliberately dressed herself up. He did not expect that when she dressed up like this, it would unexpectedly give Ningqing a kind of indescribable liking. The most obvious change was not the change in her clothes and hairstyle, but the fact that she seemed to be different from before. It was hard to tell what exactly had changed. If he had to describe it, it was like a pool of stagnant water in the past, but now it was a flowing spring. Luofei, you should have dressed up like this a long time ago. I think it looks very beautiful. Ningqing praised her from the bottom of his heart. Ji Luofei seemed to be secretly relieved, as her face turned slightly red and whispered, Ningqing, you also come in. Okay, I also have something to ask you. Ningqing quickly followed Ji Luofei into the tent. I also lost my package, and do not have any other clothes. As if to explain why she was still wearing this set of clothes, after Ji Luofei entered the tent, she added another sentence. Your aunt is a cultivator in the essence building realm. Why didn't she give you a storage bag? Even if she did not have a storage bag, shouldn't she at least have a storage bag? Ningqing frowned and said. Ji Luofei spoke in a gentle tone. The things that my aunt gave me, I left them to my aunt. Why? Did your aunt not know that you came to the Thunderfall Desert? Ningqing blurted out. Ji Luofei was silent, and did not answer Ningqing's question. Ningqing instantly understood what was going on. Ji Luofei and her aunt definitely had some unpleasantness between them. As such, it was better not to ask about it. Originally, Ningqing was still considering whether or not he should tell Ji Luofei about Xiong Qihua's matter, but now that he saw that Ji Luofei and her aunt had some unpleasantness between them, he immediately decided not to speak about this matter. He did not want to hurt Ji Luofei's heart again. Sit down. Ningqing took out 2 chairs and placed them on the ground. After Ji Luofei sat down, the two of them once again fell into silence. Ji Luofei was not good with words, and simply did not know what to say. Ningqing actually wanted to ask Ji Luofei why she left the Hua continent, but thinking that he had asked her a few times before, Ji Luofei did not answer. He guessed that it was something sad, and did not know how to speak about it. Ningqing, how did your cultivation become so high? Ji Luofei finally broke the silence. Ningqing did not hide anything, and told her about how he escaped from the Tsongla city, how he met an Yi, and how he came to the Mingot city. He also told her about some of the things that happened, and then found a spiritual essence spring in the Dawn Forest, which also allowed his cultivation to improve a lot. In addition to the matters of the mysterious yellow bead and Ji Luofei's mother, Ningqing also told her everything. He believed that Ji Luofei would not casually speak about his matters. Moreover, there were a lot of things that an Yi also knew. In Ningqing's heart, Ji Luofei was much closer than an Yi. Since an Yi already knew about it, he did not need to hide it from Ji Luofei. After all, Ji Luofei and Ji Luofei were still engaged in a fiancé relationship, at least until now it had not been dissolved. Ji Luofei was obviously affected by Ningqing's thrilling experience. Her hands were tightly grasping his hand for a moment, and then loosening it for a moment. It was not until Ningqing said that he came out from the ruins of the Lani country, and then met her again, that she finally felt relieved. Hearing that Ningqing had obtained hundreds of spirit stones, her heart started to pound. Even in the Hua continent, her aunt had only given her a few dozen spirit stones at most. These spirit stones, she had returned all of them to her aunt. Later, when she heard that Ningqing had obtained tens of thousands of spirit stones, she almost became numb. As Ningqing finished speaking, he remembered that he had obtained the Imperial Jade Seal, but he did not intend to take it out now. This was not a safe place. In case the Imperial Jade Seal's aura leaked out, then he would only be asking for trouble. Ningqing took out a storage bag, The storage bag originally had 1,000 spirit stones inside. Ningqing also took out a flying sword and a few sets of clothes and put them into the storage bag. Luofei, this is for you. The clothes are only for me. Wait until we reach the Hua continent. Then you can buy some of the clothes that you need. Ningqing handed the storage bag to Ji Luofei. He was worried that Ji Luofei would not even want her aunt's storage bag, and would also not want his. And, contrary to Ningqing's expectations, Ji Luofei did not hesitate for even half a moment as she took the storage bag from Ningqing, and then tied the storage bag to her waist, without even saying a word of thanks. Ningqing breathed a sigh of relief. He really did have several of these storage bags. Ji Luofei's cultivation was poor. In addition to the lack of cultivation resources, it was definitely because of the cultivation method. Luofei, do you know what your spiritual roots are? Ningqing also had a water attribute profound grade cultivation method, and an earth attribute profound grade cultivation method. If Ji Luofei's spiritual roots were not water or earth, then he would have to help her take a look. I have a water and fire dual spiritual root. My main spiritual root leans towards water. When Ji Luofei heard Ningqing ask about her spiritual roots, she immediately thought of Ningqing's spiritual roots. Ningqing's spiritual roots were so poor. Even if he obtained a lot of opportunities, wouldn't it be impossible for him to cultivate this fast? Ningqing clapped his hands and laughed and said, "Great, I just happen to have a profound grade water attribute cultivation method. You do not need to cultivate your original cultivation method. You can cultivate a water attribute cultivation method." Saying that, Ningqing took out a jade strip and handed it to Ji Luofei. "It doesn't matter if you don't understand the contents of this jade strip. I will teach you slowly in the beginning, and you will be able to understand it later." Ji Luofei was the same as Ningqing. She did not know much about the preciousness of a profound grade cultivation method. She only knew that this cultivation method should be much better than the one she had cultivated before. "Luofei, you have 1,000 low-grade spirit stones in your storage bag. You can use these spirit stones to cultivate. With your qualifications, you will definitely be able to advance to the true condensation realm." Hearing Ningqing say that he already had 1,000 spirit stones in his storage bag, Ji Luofei was so shocked that she stood up. Only the core students of the Falling Star Academy, as well as some of the cultivators above the true condensation realm, would have a net worth of hundreds or even thousands of spirit stones. For someone like her with a dual spiritual root, although she had some treatment in the Falling Star Academy, but in comparison, it was a lot worse. Moreover, she also needed to work hard and complete some tasks in order to obtain them. She had just arrived at the Falling Star Academy not too long ago, and had already left. As such, she did not have the opportunity to complete any tasks. "Ningqing, my qualifications are better than yours. You can keep these spirit stones for your own use." Ji Luofei quickly wanted to leave the spirit stones for Ningqing. She was completely unclear. That profound grade water attribute cultivation method was much more precious than 1,000 spirit stones. Ningqing patted his storage bag and said, "I still have a few thousand spirit stones. You do not have to worry about it. Now, why did you come to the Thunderfall Desert alone?" Seeing Ji Luofei calm down, Ningqing knew that at this time, she should be able to answer his questions. Ji Luofei lowered her head, and said in a somewhat lost tone, "My aunt insisted that I marry into one of the 7 major clans of the Hua continent, the Shui clan, but I did not agree to it. I wanted to go back to the Tsongqing province to see you, so I entered the Thunderfall Desert alone." This meddlesome woman! Ningqing angrily shouted. Chapter 85. What is a gossipy old woman? Ji Luofei, on hearing Ningqing call her aunt a gossipy old woman, did not understand for a moment, and asked a question. Ningqing chuckled, and quickly changed the topic. "Let's not talk about your aunt's matter. I heard that the Hua continent is going to establish a 6-star academy. Is it going to be a competition between the 5 5-star academies? Do you know about this?" Ji Luofei nodded and said, "Yes, there is indeed such a thing. This tournament is not only about the overall strength of the 5 5-star academies of the Hua continent, but it is also about the potential strength of the 5 5-star academies. The true deciding factor was one's potential strength. For this potential strength, Each of the 5-star academies will select a portion of the true condensation disciples, and then carry out a comprehensive competition. Would those with good results be selected to go to an intermediate class continent? Ningqing quickly asked again. This was what he really wanted to ask. He had the Clear Sky 5-star Academy's admission jade card. If he could enter the 5-star Academy, then he believed that even if he had to face a late-stage true condensation cultivator, he would still have the power to fight. Wasn't the tournament about comparing the strong and the weak? If his strength was good, then he would be able to get a place in the tournament of the 5-star academies and be sent to an intermediate class continent. That would be a fortunate thing. Ning Cheng had long understood that if one wanted to cultivate to a higher realm, then staying in a lower class continent was simply not possible. Only by going to an intermediate class continent or a high class continent would one be able to find the opportunity to cultivate to a higher realm. I am not very clear about this. I did not stay in the Falling Star Academy for a long time. Most of my time was spent in other places and in the Thunderfall Desert. I only heard that the rewards for the top few are very generous. As for the others, Ji Luofei's words were interrupted by Ning Cheng. Luofei, you are only at Qi Gathering 5th level. How can you walk in the Thunderfall Desert for such a long time? And he even came here? Ji Luofei's eyes showed a trace of sadness. I met a good person at the edge of the Thunderfall Desert. They were also forced by their enemies to go to the Yuan continent. I followed them. They seemed to have a relatively safe route. We walked in the desert for a month or two without encountering any major dangers. But 3 days ago, we encountered a sandstorm. When Ningqing heard this, he immediately knew that it was not good. The reason why he had deviated from his original direction was because he had encountered a yellow dragon that had been swept up by sand and stones. At the same time, he sighed in his heart. This kind of family migration was everywhere. Once he offended a powerful opponent, if he couldn't find a way to hide in time, he could only pass through the danger zone and go to another continent. Didn't the Ning family and the Ji family come to be like this? That sandstorm was extremely terrifying. We were all separated. I followed a few people and deviated from our original direction. Later on, we met a few cultivators who were robbing us. They were the 4 you killed before. After a few of us were stopped, we scattered and ran away. Perhaps it was because my face was disfigured and my cultivation was low, and they didn't have enough manpower, so I actually managed to escape. I frantically ran in the same direction. I always felt that this was the direction I should be heading in. Then I really met you. Ji Luofei's tone was very gloomy. It was obvious that she was worried about that good family. Ningqing did not know how to comfort Ji Luofei, so he once again changed the topic and asked, Luofei, I want to ask you about a person. In the Falling Star Academy, is there a person called Meng Yujing? Regarding Ji Luofei being acquainted with Meng Yujing, Ningqing did not have much hope. There were so many people in the Falling Star Academy. Moreover, Ji Luofei had not been to the Falling Star Academy for a long time, so it was normal that she did not know Meng Yujing. Ji Luofei looked at Ningqing in doubt and replied, How do you know her? Meng Yujing was the most beautiful girl in the Falling Star Academy. Moreover, she was also one of the top 10 core disciples. He had the cultivation of true condensation 7th level, and was also the disciple of one of the Academy's 3 profound core deans. I saw it once from afar. Didn't I tell you before that I met Ko Hong in the Dawn Forest? He asked me to bring something to Meng Yujing. The fact is that I do not know Meng Yujing. Ningqing explained. This was the first time that the two of them had spoken so many words together. It was also the first time that Ningqing was able to understand Ji Luofei's heart. This was a truly kind and grateful woman. Ningqing and Ji Luofei rested here for a day before packing up their things and leaving. Since Ji Luofei found Ningqing, it was obvious that she wanted to follow Ningqing back to the Hua continent. As for the matter regarding her parents, she decided to wait until her cultivation was high enough, and then go to the Dawn Forest to look for them. Along the way, Ningqing constantly taught Ji Luofei new cultivation methods. Ji Luofei was already at Qi Gathering 5th level. As such, she only needed to cultivate her spiritual sense, coupled with the many spirit stones that Ningqing gave her, as well as the pointers that he did not conceal. Ji Luofei progressed very quickly. 3 days later, when Ningqing and Ji Luofei arrived at the oasis, Ji Luofei was already able to release some of her spiritual sense. Ningqing remembered that the oasis on the map was originally a small lake, and the small lake was surrounded by a circle of jujube trees and red willows. But when Ningqing finally arrived here, he found that the jujube trees and red willows had already disappeared. The small lake also had a huge bathtub-sized sandpit. What's wrong? Ji Luofei saw Ningqing stop and did not move forward, and asked in a puzzled manner. Ningqing pointed to the sandpit in front of him and said, I remember on the map that I obtained, this oasis has existed for countless years, and has never dried up. How come it dried up when I came here? Ji Luofei did not have the time to answer, when a rich spiritual qi emerged from the bottom of the huge sandpit. Spiritual qi. Ji Luofei simultaneously discovered this rich spiritual qi, and looked at Ningqing with a surprised expression. Ningqing stared at the increasingly rich spiritual qi in the sandpit, and was ready to enter the sandpit to have a look. With such a rich spiritual qi here, there must be something good inside the sandpit. There seems to be very few people on this route, otherwise if there were any good things here, perhaps they would have already taken them away. Ji Luofei certainly understood that there should be something good at the bottom of the sandpit, with such a rich spiritual qi. Ningqing on hearing Ji Luofei's words stopped in his tracks, and asked, Luofei, did you say that the family that brought you into the Thunderfall Desert also has a map to pass through the Thunderfall Desert? Ji Luofei gave an sound and spoke, Yes, we walked for a month or two, and did not encounter any danger, so they should have a map. It does not seem to be the road that we are currently taking. Ningqing frowned. Although the Thunderfall Desert was extremely dangerous, but for countless years, the number of low-leveled cultivators who had passed through the Thunderfall Desert was not small. Moreover, these low-leveled cultivators obviously did not take the same route. Since it was the same, and the same safe route, there must have been people who had come out. This was an oasis, which meant that there were definitely people who knew about it. Since there were other people who knew about it, then why did they wait for so many years? And when he passed through this place, the spiritual qi was still so rich? Could it be that the good things were just waiting for him to take them away? There were simply too many mysterious things in the desert. If one's strength was not enough, then it would be better to just forget about it. Just like that mysterious North Jew tribe, Ningqing still did not know the exact location of that tribe. Luofei, let's go. Ningqing gave up on the idea of jumping into the sandpit to look for treasures, as he took Ji Luofei and bypassed the sandpit, and was about to leave. At this time, a large area around the sandpit suddenly collapsed. Even the place where Ningqing was standing also began to collapse, as two incomparably dark and shriveled palms grabbed towards Ningqing and Ji Luofei's back. Ningqing immediately knew that this was not good. Almost at the same time as the two dark and shriveled palms grabbed towards him, he immediately grabbed Ji Luofei and threw her out of the sandpit, while simultaneously shouting, Luofei, quickly leave. Saying that, he immediately shot out with his spear-type artifact. This spear-type artifact was shot out with almost all of his strength, without even half a shred of reservation. Boom! The spear exploded on the palm of the dark and shriveled palms, causing the dark and shriveled palms to stagnate, causing Ningqing to spit out a mouthful of blood, as he borrowed the force to fly out. But Ningqing had just borrowed the force to fly out, when the shriveled palms that were originally trying to grab Ji Luofei also came to grab him. A formidable force pulled Ningqing towards the dark and shriveled palms. How could Ningqing not know that once he fell into this palm, he would not be able to survive? At this time he did not have even half a thought, and directly threw all of his low-leveled artifacts, other than the spear, towards this palm. Then learning the method of that true condensation 7th level cultivator, he stimulated all of his true essence, while simultaneously crazily burning his essence blood. Boom boom boom. A series of explosions resounded, as the few low-leveled artifacts that Ningqing threw at the dark and shriveled palms were blown back. Ningqing continuously spat out a few mouthfuls of blood in the air, although he had temporarily escaped from this palm, but he still fell into the huge sandpit. In order to blow up his artifacts, at this time he did not even have half a shred of strength to return to the outside of the sandpit. The moment Ji Luofei was thrown away by Ningqing, she knew that something bad had happened. She saw a huge sandpit appear, and a black and shriveled palms were trying to grab Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng was about to fall into the sandpit. She did not even think about it, and immediately rushed towards Ning Cheng. She swore in her heart that she would never let such a thing happen again. Since Ning Cheng fell into the sandpit, she must save him. If she could not save Ning Cheng, then she might as well fall into the sandpit together with Ning Cheng. At this moment, she did not have any other thoughts in her mind. The huge impact of the explosion of the artifacts caused Ning Cheng to fly high, but Ning Cheng soon fell back down again. At this time, Ji Luofei had just arrived at the entrance of the sandpit, as she immediately waved a long belt. The long belt wrapped around Ning Cheng, and with her hand, she unexpectedly pulled Ning Cheng out of the sandpit. Ji Luofei held back the excitement in her heart, as she reached out to hold Ning Cheng tightly, and used her fastest speed to escape. She was glad that the long belt on Ning Cheng's back was now on her body. She was glad that she did not hesitate to rush over. Even if there was even half a moment of hesitation, even if she arrived at the entrance of the sandpit, she could only helplessly watch Ning Cheng fall into the sandpit. Ji Luofei had just left with Ning Cheng, when the black and shriveled giant hand once again stretched out from the sandpit, but when it found that there was no one around, the black and shriveled palm once again slowly retracted into the sandpit. Half an hour later, Ji Luofei took a deep breath and put Ning Cheng down. Then she carried Ning Cheng on her back, using the long belt in her hand to secure him, and then grabbed Ning Cheng's long spear in her hand. Luofei, thank you. If not for you, I would have died this time. Ning Cheng, who was lying on Ji Luofei's back, spoke out with some lingering fear. You lied to me. Ji Luofei suddenly spoke out in an inexplicable voice. Ah. Ning Cheng was startled. He did not know what Ji Luofei meant. You said that on that day, you knew that the result would be the same, so you told me to go first, and you to bring up the rear. Ji Luofei pursed her lips. But why are you still like this today? Ning Cheng opened his mouth. How could he have thought about it so much at that time? He subconsciously spoke up. Two people, one going is better than the other not being able to walk away. That's why you came back to save me. No, you had thrown me towards that black hand, and then you could have used that force to escape. Ji Luofei's voice even contained a hint of sobbing. Ning Cheng did not do such a thing. Instead he grabbed her and threw her away. In this case, Ning Cheng's speed of falling into the sandpit was even faster. Why are you so good to me? Chapter 86. Ning Cheng did not answer. He was not in the mood to answer. He had already checked his injuries, and understood that his meridians were completely broken, and his dantian was completely cracked. This kind of terrible injury, not to mention him, even if it was the top place of an advanced level continent, they would not be able to treat it. To put it simply, he was already a cripple. Not to mention cultivation, wanting to keep his life was already extremely difficult. In the confrontation with the huge black shriveled palm in the sandpit, he had crazily burned his essence blood, and even went all out to detonate a few low-leveled artifacts, and was able to blow up the black shriveled palm. But at the same time he was also hit by the terrible explosion. If not for the inner armor that he was wearing, perhaps his body would have already been blown out of shape. The joy of escaping from death, in an instant, disappeared completely. Bursts of pain came from his chest. He could not help but cough a few times. Ji Luofei was a smart person. After Ning Cheng spoke a few words, he turned silent, followed by Ning Cheng's continuous coughing. She understood that Ning Cheng's injuries might not be optimistic. Where are you planning to go? Ji Luofei carefully asked. Ning Cheng was silent for a long time, and then said, I originally wanted to go to the Falling Star Academy, but now I think. Ning Cheng wanted to give the things to Ji Luofei, so that Ji Luofei could help him deliver them. Originally, Ning Cheng had said that he would give the things to Ko Hong if he had the opportunity. But because of Ko Hong's map, he had obtained a lot of opportunities to live. If he did not help Ko Hong fulfill his last wish, he felt that it would be wrong. He thanked Ko Hong from the bottom of his heart. The map that Ko Hong gave him looked very simple, but in fact, this map was made up of many bones stacked on top of each other. This kind of great kindness, he should definitely repay it. But when he thought of Ji Luofei being forced to marry someone in the Falling Star Academy, he did not want Ji Luofei to return to her original place. You don't have to worry, the Hua continent has a lot of healing pills. And now we also have some spirit stones. Your injuries can be easily healed. Ji Luofei comforted Ningcheng. Ningcheng was just about to speak when he felt the mysterious yellow bead in his zifu suddenly start to rotate. An unrecognizable aura came out from the mysterious yellow bead. This aura in the slowest form began to reshape his meridians and dantian. As this kind of aura integrated into his meridians, Ningcheng unexpectedly slowly became aware that the mysterious yellow bead was also gradually merging with him. That light yellow aura changed according to his will, and it was already affecting him. Was this the mysterious yellow origin? That's right, this was definitely the mysterious yellow origin that he had never been able to obtain before. Ningcheng was so pleasantly surprised that he almost shouted out loud. He had thought that he could only feel the mysterious yellow origin when his cultivation level was very high, but he did not expect that he would be able to feel the mysterious yellow origin, even though he only had the cultivation of true condensation realm. If he had known that all his meridians and dantian would have ruptured, then he would have been able to mobilize the mysterious yellow origin and fuse it into his body. Perhaps he would have already done so. Cultivating inside the mysterious yellow bead was several times faster than cultivating outside. The reason why he did not dare to enter the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate was because he was afraid that the aura of the mysterious yellow bead would be exposed. Even when he came to the Hua continent this time, he was still somewhat worried. He was afraid that some very high-level experts would be able to see through the mysterious yellow bead in his body. Now that the mysterious yellow origin was stimulated, it was able to transform and repair his meridians. Once his meridians were completely transformed, he was sure that the mysterious yellow bead would also be integrated with him, and no one would be able to detect it. Ningcheng's happiness only lasted for the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, before he once again started to worry. According to the speed at which the mysterious yellow origin was transforming his meridians and repairing his dantian, once his meridians and dantian were completely transformed and repaired, it would take at least 3 months. For more than 3 months, he did not have any strength. If he was in seclusion, then it would not have mattered. But in this desert, what should he do? With Ji Luofei's strength, she absolutely could not guarantee the safety of the two of them. Should he find a place in the desert to go into seclusion and cultivate? Or should he continue on his way? Ningcheng soon abandoned the idea of choosing an immortal cave in the desert. Rather than looking for an immortal cave in the desert, it would be better to continue on their way. In this kind of place like the Thunderfall Desert for a few months, anything could happen. There was simply no safe place in this place. Whether they stopped or walked, it would be equally dangerous. It would be better to speed up their journey. Maybe in 2 months, they would already be out of the desert. Seeing that Ningcheng did not answer, Ji Luofei seemed to be able to feel Ningcheng's mood, and secretly decided that no matter what, she would help Ningcheng heal his injuries. You wait. Just as Ji Luofei was about to get up and continue on their way, Ningcheng told her the direction that he knew, and let Ji Luofei continue on their way. Ji Luofei carried Ningcheng on her back without stopping for even a moment. Ningcheng on Ji Luofei's back allowed the mysterious yellow origin to constantly transform his meridians, as well as repair his dantian. Unfortunately, he was simply unable to intervene in this process. Otherwise, he would have definitely done everything in his power to speed up the healing process. Along the way, Ji Luofei, in addition to avoiding a few simple desert whirlpools, as well as a few low-leveled desert monstrous beasts, the two of them unexpectedly did not encounter any other dangers. 2 months passed by, when Ningcheng and Ji Luofei heard a faint singing voice, and then saw the yellow haze in front of them dissipate. The two of them knew that the Thunderfall Desert was already behind them, and that they had finally come out of the Thunderfall Desert. We've arrived at the Hua continent. Ji Luofei looked at the distant hazy mountain range, as her original hesitation disappeared. Now that Ningcheng was seriously injured, she had to help Ningcheng take care of him, so there was no need for them to separate. Ningcheng coughed a few times. Ji Luofei quickly patted Ningcheng's back and said, "Let's first find a place to stay, and then I'll help you look for healing herbs." Ningcheng quickly said, "Luofei, you don't have to help me look for healing herbs. I'm aware of my own injuries. In fact, I've already started to heal myself. At most in a month and a half, my injuries will definitely recover." But Ji Luofei did not believe Ning Cheng's words. For the past 2 months, Ning Cheng had been coughing. Moreover, his true essence had also not been restored. How could she believe that Ning Cheng could heal himself? At this time, the singing voice in the distance was getting closer, as a beast carriage came over. The one who was singing was the driver of the beast carriage. As the driver of the beast carriage arrived at the side of Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei, and took the initiative to stop. Do the two of you want to take the beast carriage to the Shapai town? My carriage is heading back to the Shapai town. If you want to go, then I can give you a ride. Ji Luofei was just about to refuse, as she was not slow while carrying Ning Cheng, but Ning Cheng pulled her back and said, "We will first take the beast carriage to the Shapai town. You should also take a rest." Regarding Ning Cheng's words, Ji Luofei never refuted, and immediately said to the driver, "In that case, we will take your beast carriage to the Shapai town." The driver quickly got off the carriage, opened the door and said, "The two of you please come in." Ning Cheng saw that there was already a young woman inside the carriage, and felt a bit strange. The driver seemed to know that Ning Cheng was feeling strange, and quickly said, "My carriage is going to the Thunderfall Desert's Peng Estate relay station, so there are only a few people on the way back." Ning Cheng came to understand. Originally this was a return carriage. Just like Li Xiao's carriage, there was an empty carriage. After the driver saw Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei sit down, he quickly closed the door, and once again drove the beast carriage away. Generally speaking, for the people on the edge of the desert, he never talked about the price. When these people got off, the price they gave would not be low. If he talked about the price, then not only would it leave a bad impression on the people, but it was possible that he would get even less. He had been pulling carriages in this area for a long time, and was already aware of this rule. When it was good, he only needed to pull a single person on the way back, and the amount of gold coins he would get would be much more than when he pulled a carriage full of people. The young woman sitting inside the carriage was wearing a set of black tights, with a thin veil covering her face. Ning Cheng glanced at her. She had the cultivation of Qi gathering 9th level. Even if she was sitting, he could see that this woman had a very good figure. Her clothes outlined her curves very clearly, plus her skin was also very good. This was definitely a beauty. But when she saw that Ning Cheng still needed Ji Luofei to help him get into the carriage, she even coughed a few times, and her eyes were filled with disdain. When her eyes swept towards the spear that Ji Luofei was holding for Ning Cheng, the disdain in her eyes became even more intense. Although the spear was wrapped in a cloth, but she could still see the broken spear hilt, which she could still see. Ji Luofei was never a talkative person, and even if she wanted to talk, she would only talk to Ning Cheng. Inside the carriage, there was another black-robed woman. She just glanced at her, and no longer paid any attention to her. Ning Cheng, of course, would also not pay attention to a woman in the same carriage. Although there were 3 people in the same carriage, but it was very quiet, other than the occasional singing of the driver and the hoofbeats of the stone-horn beast, there was no other sound. Chapter 87. Ning Cheng could feel that his meridians had already recovered by more than 90%, and even his dantian was becoming more and more perfect. He believed that as long as he had a little more time, his meridians would be completely reshaped. At that time, even if his cultivation did not improve, his true essence would be much thicker and smoother than before. Ji Luofei was somewhat puzzled as she looked at this black-robed woman. They were about to reach Shapai town. Why did they want to get off here? The black-robed woman gave Ning Cheng a blank look, and muttered, "You don't know what's good for you, but you still don't know what's good for you." Ji Luofei really wanted this pill, but after she heard Ning Cheng's words, she had no choice but to refuse. "Thank you, but we do not need it." Time quickly passed by. Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei lived in seclusion in the carriage driver's courtyard, and in a blink of an eye half a month had passed by. Ning Cheng was moved in his heart. The courtyard in front of him was really not small. Not only was it not small, but the surroundings were also relatively spacious. Living here was much more comfortable than living in the rest stop. But this kind of silence did not last long, as Ning Cheng's stifled coughs broke the silence of the carriage. His meridians had not yet completely closed, but Ning Cheng was already aware of the formidable feeling he was feeling. "Many thanks, we are not particular about living here." Ning Cheng quickly thanked him. For him, living in the home of a coachman who had never cultivated before was much better than living in a rest stop with people coming and going. But the more essential difference was that after the mysterious yellow origin had completely transformed his meridians, they were no longer in the fragile state they were in before. Even his corporeal body was a lot tougher than before. Not knowing how much time had passed, Ning Cheng's whole body shook. The next moment his face revealed a look of ecstasy. When the sky was turning dark, the voice of the carriage driver arrived. "We are about to arrive at the Shanghai town." The carriage driver spoke in a very casual manner. "Just give me something. If it is not convenient, then it doesn't matter if you don't give it. My carriage is just passing by, so it doesn't take much effort." This courtyard was really good. The carriage driver, in order to thank Ning Cheng for the many gold coins, deliberately left the largest house for Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei. Although his cultivation did not advance, but on the contrary regressed, but it did not matter, because Ning Cheng clearly understood the reason why his cultivation had regressed. Not only were his meridians much wider than before, they were also much tougher. The coachman was somewhat excited as he received the gold coins from Ning Cheng, and spoke in a somewhat careful manner. "My family's courtyard is very big, and there are also many empty houses. If you don't mind, you can stay here. If you want to go to a rest stop, the Shanghai rest stop in the south of the town is the largest." The beast carriage ran all the way, and apart from the driver taking a short break, it didn't stop at all. That black-robed woman seemed to have been rejected by Ning Cheng once, causing her to feel somewhat unhappy in her heart. As such, she did not bother to speak again. The coachman quickly said, "This is the courtyard of my house. Friend, if you cross the road in front, you will reach the main street. It is not far. My beast carriage is not allowed to go to the main street. It can only be parked in front of my courtyard." Thinking like this, Ning Cheng subconsciously glanced at the pill in the hands of the black-robed woman. When he saw the pill in the black-robed woman's hand, he was extremely shocked. It was actually a high-grade level 3 spiritual nourishment pill. The coachman's eyes lit up, but he immediately said, This is too much." The remaining 10% of his broken meridians, in the shortest time possible, were completely reshaped at a speed that was dozens of times faster than before. The last few cracks in his dantian were washed away by the mysterious yellow origin qi, and in just a twinkling of an eye, there was not even half a scar left. Letting out a sigh, Ning Cheng put away the spear. He felt that he should first inform Ji Luofei. He could not let Ji Luofei continue to worry about him. The black-robed woman looked at Ning Cheng, and then looked at Ji Luofei. After thinking for a while, the disdain in her eyes also gradually disappeared. She guessed that she had guessed wrong, that the person inside the carriage with her should not be a husband and wife, but rather a brother and sister relationship. Ning Cheng looked somewhat vicissitudes of life, and estimated that he was not young, he should be the elder brother. For Ning Cheng, gold coins really did not have much use, as he had nearly 100 gold coins in his hand. Ning Cheng did not know what was going on at this moment, but he knew that this was definitely his opportunity. At this moment, how could he be distracted? At this moment he almost put all of his concentration into the reshaping of his meridians. "I really did not guess it. Is your elder brother seriously injured or seriously ill?" After the black-robed woman found that her guess was correct, her mood became very good. Under the guidance of Ning Cheng, Ji Luofei arranged a level 1 concealment defensive array. As for the spiritual gathering array, Ning Cheng did not dare to arrange it. Once the spiritual gathering array was arranged, the spiritual qi would start to flow towards them, which would not be good for them. There were very few cultivators in the Shanghai town. As such a level 1 concealment array for Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei, it was more than enough. Otherwise, how could a woman like Ji Luofei be together with such a sick ghost? After the coachman left, Ning Cheng took out a pile of array flags and gave them to Ji Luofei. "Luofei, we will stay here for a month and a half. I will have to heal myself. After this month and a half passes, we will then leave. These array flags are for arranging concealment and defensive array flags. My Zifu is seriously injured, and my spiritual sense is very weak. I will tell you about it now. You can arrange it." Okay. Ji Luofei knew that Ning Cheng was seriously injured, and would not be able to go further. As such, staying in the Shanghai town was the best choice. Luo Fei, you can cultivate here, try not to go to the lively places in the Shapai town. As for my injuries, I am well aware of them, there will definitely not be any problems. After Ningcheng arranged the array formations, he still repeatedly told Ji Luofei. He was afraid that Ji Luofei would be worried about him, and would not listen to his words, and take the initiative to go to the town to look for pills to heal his injuries. Ningcheng had just stood up. When he frowned, he once again saw that black-robed woman. But at this time, that black-robed woman was covered with blood, and was anxiously standing in the courtyard as she spoke to Ji Luofei. The coachman seemed to know that Ningcheng and Ji Luofei were not ordinary people. Since he had arranged for the two of them to stay in his courtyard, he had never come to disturb them. Besides, this black-robed woman only had the cultivation of qi gathering 9th level. How could she have any good pills? Ningcheng knew that he was not only seriously injured, but also that his meridians were starting to reshape under the influence of the mysterious yellow origin. How could he take a pill at this time? Even if it was an immortal pill, he did not want to use it. On this day, Ningcheng was calculating how long it would take for his meridians to be completely reshaped. When he felt the flow of the mysterious yellow origin qi suddenly accelerate, moreover the speed at which his meridians were being reshaped also suddenly accelerated. Alright, how many gold coins? Ningcheng nodded and asked. The toughness was what surprised Ningcheng the most, the tenacity of his meridians. It meant that he would be able to withstand the pressure and the potential for development. In the future he would be able to climb to a higher realm. No thank you. Ningcheng directly refused the black-robed woman's spiritual enhancement pill. No matter what aspect he considered it from, he did not want to talk to this woman. Ningcheng raised his hand, and the broken spear immediately fell into his palm. He almost wanted to test the might of his spear with all his strength. I have a healing pill here. I will give it to you. You can rest assured, as long as you take this pill, your elder brother's injuries will definitely be healed. The black-robed woman suddenly took out a white pill, and handed it to Ji Luofei. He is seriously injured. Ji Luofei was not used to ignoring people. Now that someone else asked her, she had to answer once again. The meridians in his body were emitting bursts of ka-ka sounds, as well as the gurgling sound of the true essence flowing through his body. Ningcheng could even hear it. Wait, I will get off here. The black-robed woman suddenly called out to the coachman. Ji Luofei had just helped Ningcheng up, when the coachman opened the door. For a qi-gathering 9th level cultivator to casually give out a rank 3 spiritual enhancement pill, it showed that this woman was definitely not ordinary. For such an unusual woman to ride in a beast carriage, it was even more strange. Ningcheng could only use a little of his spiritual sense. He could vaguely feel that this woman was concealing her own aura. After the black-robed woman got off, the beast carriage, in less than the time it took for an incense stick to burn, entered the Shapai town, and then stopped in front of a courtyard house. You should be brother and sister, right? The black-robed woman took the initiative to ask. Where is this? Ningcheng looked at the courtyard house, but did not see any streets, nor did he see any rest stop. His cultivation had regressed, because his meridians were simply not comparable to before. If his true essence was compared to flowing water, then his meridians had changed from a stream to a river. As long as he continued to cultivate, his strength at true condensation 1st level would be several times stronger than before. Ji Luofei had never taken anything from a stranger, but when she heard the black-robed woman say that this white pill could help Ningcheng recover, she immediately wanted to take it. However, she still looked at Ningcheng, and wanted to know what Ningcheng thought. Ningcheng knew the thoughts of this coachman, but he still had a good impression of him. He took out a handful of gold coins and handed it to the coachman and said, "These are for you." Ji Luofei felt that Ningcheng was slowly recovering, and her nervous mind also gradually relaxed a bit. At the same time, her cultivation also advanced by leaps and bounds. Not only was her spiritual sense restored, but her cultivation had also advanced from the early stages of qi gathering 5th level to the peak of the 5th level. In her view, although Ji Luofei was disfigured, but regardless of which aspect, Ningcheng was not worthy of her. If she could restore her appearance, then even she might not be as good as this woman in front of her. Ji Luofei's face turned slightly red. She seemed to be overly worried about Ningcheng. Now that the black-robed woman asked, she could only non-committally give a low-end sound. She was too embarrassed to explain the relationship between her and Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng was too lazy to pay attention to this black-robed woman, while Ji Luofei was completely worried about Ning Cheng and did not speak much. Ning Cheng stuffed all the gold coins into the hands of the coachman and said, "If we had not met you, it would have been very difficult for us to reach the Shapai town so quickly. You tell me which rest stop is better." Chapter 88. Ning Cheng could feel that this black-robed woman had suffered a serious injury. Fortunately, her healing pills were also good. As such, her injuries were already improving. "Are you feeling better?" Ji Luofei saw Ning Cheng come out. Moreover, his complexion was much better than before. She quickly came forward to support Ning Cheng and asked in a pleasantly surprised voice, "Much better. I think that we can leave this place in 2 days." Ning Cheng looked at Ji Luofei and smiled. If not for studying the Imperial Jade Seal, perhaps he would have already planned to leave. Ji Luofei remembered the black-robed woman on the side and said to Ning Cheng with some hesitation, "Because she was besieged, she was seriously injured. Now that she has no place to hide, she could only return to the Shapai town." She did not dare to enter the rest stop in the Shapai town, but she happened to see me here, so. Ning Cheng finally understood he had not guessed wrong. This woman really was troublesome. He did not know where the pills on her body came from. It was estimated that she had revealed her wealth and ended up being besieged. For a woman like her who only had the cultivation of Qi-gathering realm, to casually take out a spiritual growth pill to a stranger for the first time, sooner or later she would be targeted. Although Ning Cheng did not care about these things, it did not mean that others would not care. Now that this black-robed woman really met with trouble, Ning Cheng did not even need to ask. He could guess that this woman must have found her pills in another place and ended up in an accident. This woman looked deep and incomparably shrewd, but turned out to be an idiot. Moreover, a woman with such a hot figure like her, wandering outside, and wearing such tight clothes to set off her figure, it was obvious that she did not have any experience at all. "This elder brother, I can only stay for 2 days at most. As long as you take me in for 2 days, once my injuries are healed, I can escape." When the black-robed woman saw Ning Cheng frown, she no longer had the disdain that she had when she first saw Ning Cheng. She had already seen it clearly. Between Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei, it was Ning Cheng who called the shots. Ji Luofei looked at Ning Cheng expectantly. She hoped that Ning Cheng would take in this black-robed woman. Firstly, because this black-robed woman had healing pills on her. Of course, when this woman gave them healing pills for no reason. Although Ning Cheng did not want it, Ji Luofei was still very grateful in her heart. She was a person who knew how to repay kindness. Ning Cheng nodded. "Well, you can stay here for 2 days. After 2 days, we will also be leaving this place." "That's great, thank you. My name is Zhu Mu. I don't know the names of the two of you." When the black-robed woman heard that Ning Cheng wanted to shelter her for 2 days, she immediately became happy. "Just call me Luofei." Ji Luofei quickly replied, "I am called Ning Xiaocheng Luofei. You take Zhu Mu to the rightmost room to rest. I want to go into seclusion for 2 days." Ning Cheng was not willing to have a deep friendship with this Zhu Mu, but at the same time he also wanted to go into seclusion to study the Imperial Jade Seal. As for taking in Zhu Mu, Ning Cheng was not worried at all. With Zhu Mu's cultivation, she was able to escape unscathed to this place, which clearly showed that her opponent was only at this level. Now that he had recovered his cultivation, his strength was even higher than before. Even if Zhu Mu's enemies came looking for him, he would not be afraid. "You want to go into seclusion?" Zhu Mu looked at Ning Cheng in amazement. In her opinion, Ning Cheng was just a sickly invalid. A sickly invalid dared to say that he wanted to go into seclusion? Fortunately, she was clear that she was asking for shelter. Seeing that Ning Cheng did not answer her, she did not dare to speak any more nonsense. Ji Luofei felt that Ning Cheng did not like this Zhu Mu, so she quickly took Zhu Mu to the rightmost room in the house and told Zhu Mu not to disturb Ning Cheng. "Sister Luofei, you can rest assured, I do not have enough time to heal myself. How would I have the time to disturb your elder brother? Thank you for taking me in. If you have the time, I will take you to my house to play. Zhu Mu'er's suspicions came quickly, but disappeared even faster. After settling Zhu Mu'er down, Ji Luofei once again returned to Ning Cheng's room. Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng stopped Ji Luofei's words. Luofei, from now on just call me Ning Xiaocheng. Before that woman called Zhu Mu'er did not come, I did not tell you about it. In that carriage, Zhu Mu'er casually took out a level 3 spiritual enhancement pill, which shows that her background is not ordinary. Both of us do not have any backing, so we should try to minimize our contact with such people. Okay, I understand. Ji Luofei nodded, as she approached Ning Cheng, and grabbed Ning Cheng's wrist. She wanted to see if Ning Cheng's injuries were any better. Ning Cheng patted Ji Luofei's hand and said, Luofei, my injuries have basically recovered. You do not have to worry about it. I was just going to talk to you about this matter. These next few days I will have to go into seclusion to study some things. You also have to seize the time to cultivate. Hearing Ning Cheng say that his injuries were almost healed, Ji Luofei was overjoyed, and quickly replied, I know, you go into seclusion first. When you come out I will come back again. After Ji Luofei left, Ning Cheng arranged a few concealment array formations in his room, and then took out the Imperial Jade Seal. The Imperial Jade Seal had a pale golden color on the outside, and was very exquisite, but when held in his hands it was very heavy. Ning Cheng had also seen some pictures of Imperial Jade Seals. Generally, the Imperial Jade Seals of a country were engraved with a dragon-shaped jade carving. But the Imperial Jade Seal in his hands only had a bird engraved on it that Ning Cheng did not recognize. Below the bird was a small cube, and the bottom of the cube was engraved with the words Lan-Yi Country. Ning Cheng touched the 4 words Lan-Yi Country with his hand, but could not feel anything special about it. His spiritual sense swept onto the Imperial Jade Seal, but could not sweep into the Imperial Jade Seal. Ning Cheng tried to use his spiritual sense to refine the Imperial Jade Seal, but even after half a day, the Imperial Jade Seal did not have even the slightest reaction. It did not seem to be an artifact. If it was not an artifact, Ning Cheng was sure that his spiritual sense would be able to penetrate into the Imperial Jade Seal, but his spiritual sense was not able to penetrate into it. Ning Cheng took out his spear, and using 10% of his true essence, he struck the Imperial Jade Seal with his spear. When the spear hit the Imperial Jade Seal, it gave out a sound similar to hitting a piece of leather. There was no clear sound. The Imperial Jade Seal also did not budge. Not to mention opening the Imperial Jade Seal, there was not even a trace of it. Such a hard Imperial Jade Seal. This kind of hardness was definitely an artifact. Ning Cheng once again took the Imperial Jade Seal in his hands, and began to refine it. 2 days passed by in a flash, but the Imperial Jade Seal in Ning Cheng's hands did not change even half a bit. It still remained motionless. Ning Cheng dispiritedly put down the Imperial Jade Seal in his hands. He simply had no way to open the Imperial Jade Seal. In desperation, Ning Cheng once again put away the Imperial Jade Seal, and opened the door. You finally came out of your seclusion. I have to leave, so I just happened to say hello to you. This time I really have to thank you, although those people thought that I did not return to the Shapai town, but I am still very grateful to you. Zhu Mu'er and Ji Luofei were already sitting outside talking. Seeing Ning Cheng come out, Zhu Mu'er took the initiative to stand up and greet him. The veil covering Zhu Mu'er's face had already been removed, revealing a delicate oval face, coupled with a pair of not-so-small eyes. It made her look very pretty. Then I wish you a pleasant journey, Ning Cheng quickly said. Zhu Mu'er waved her hand and said, Don't worry, didn't you say that you were going to leave this place? Where are you going? If it's along the way, then we might as well go together. Not waiting for Ning Cheng to answer, Zhu Mu'er took the initiative and said, I am going to the Moze City's Falling Star 5-Star Academy, but I have to first go to the Shiqin City and take the airship there. If you want to go to these 2 places, then you can come with me. What are you going to do in the Falling Star Academy? Ning Cheng had originally planned to go to the Falling Star Academy first, and then go to the Clear Sky Academy. Now that Zhu Mu'er was coincidentally going to the Falling Star Academy, it made him even more cautious. Zhu Mu'er once again gave Ning Cheng a blank look and said, Ning Xiaocheng, if I were you, I would have already taken my sister to the Moze City. The Mose City's 5-star academies are recruiting students in order to participate in the upcoming tournament of the 5-star academies. Of course, I am going there to participate in the recruitment and then enter the 5-star academies to prepare for the tournament. Although your qualifications are ordinary, but I can see that Luo Fei's qualifications are very good, although her cultivation level is not enough to participate in the tournament, but she has the opportunity to enter the outer court of the 5-star academies. If you take Luo Fei with you, in this kind of place where even birds don't shit, you will never be able to make progress, and will always be at the bottom. Ningqing glanced at the curvy Zhu Mu'er and said, Miss Xu presumably comes from a rich family. We and Luo Fei are people who have never seen the world, although we also want to go to the Mose City, but we will have to walk slowly. Miss Zhu can go first, we can walk slowly. Seeing Ningqing glance at her hot skin-tight clothes, Zhu Mu'er blushed and said, You wait a minute. Saying that, she quickly entered the room. After a short while, when Zhu Mu'er came out again, she had already changed into an ordinary woman's long dress. Then she proudly looked at Ningqing and said, Now you should not have any pressure, right? I am not happy with my father saying that I am too delicate and willful, and that I am too dependent, so I came out to do something for him to see. But when he saw that I was selected by the 5-star academies, and then obtained the top few places in the tournament, he would know that I, Zhu Mu'er, am not what he thought. Ningqing then came to understand. Originally this Zhu Mu'er came out to prove that she was the miss. This Zhu Mu'er's father really has a good eye. He really did not misjudge his own daughter. I will take you to the Mose City. At most it will only take a few days. If you go by yourself, maybe you will have to walk for a few months. Zhu Mu'er saw that Ningqing was in a daze, and proudly said again. Ningqing felt relieved in his heart. Since that was the case, then he decided to follow Zhu Mu'er to the Mose City. In the Hua continent, flying on a flying sword was much more dangerous than in the Ping continent. Chapter 89. Zhu Mu'er really did not brag about the route, nor did she lie. Under her leadership, the three of them only took 2 days before they arrived at the Shiqin city and boarded the airship heading towards the Mose City. Although there were no booths, but the airship's main hall had a variety of services. There was also a sound tablet broadcasting. It looked very good. Those who could board the airship were relatively wealthy cultivators, because the airship did not accept gold coins, and only accepted spirit stones. Ningqing looked at the airship's main hall filled with cultivators, and knew that the cultivators from the Hua continent were much richer than the Ping continent. Ningqing and Ji Luo Fei's spirit stones were paid by Zhu Mu'er. Zhu Mu'er showed her generosity, and did not allow Ji Luo Fei to use spirit stones to pay for the airship. The three of them chose a table near the side of the cabin and sat down. The airship's flight time was 2 days for a cultivator. Sitting for 2 days was really nothing. Most of the cultivators in the main hall were talking about the recruitment of the 5-star academies. Ningqing listened for a while, and had some understanding about it. Because the 5-star academies were recruiting students in the Mose City, almost all the cultivators from the Hua continent had the opportunity to go. In addition to the Hua continent, there were also some cultivators from the Ping continent and the Yuan continent. Because there were a lot of people, some of the 3- and 4-star academies in the Hua continent, and many of the good sects had also come to the Mose City to recruit students. After all, the 5-star academies only had so many students. Many of them could not join the 5-star academies, so they chose the 4-star academies, or some of the big sects. This kind of scene reminded Ningqing of the Clear Heart Academy in the Nanyuan city. It seems that no matter where, as long as the academy was recruiting students, it would attract a large number of people. Zhu Mu'er looked at the cultivators who were talking, and spoke to herself with disdain. A group of people who do not know the immensity of heaven and earth. They think that by going to the Mose City they would be selected by the advanced level academies. It is simply a dream. If the advanced level academies were so easy to enter, then they would not be called advanced level academies. Ningqing was too lazy to speak. Zhu Mu'er's tone was to go to the Mose City to participate in the advanced level academy's selection. As long as she went, as for the rest of the people, it would be best if they did not go. Ji Luo Fei, who usually did not speak much, suddenly asked, Elder Sister Mu'er, in the 5-star academies, if there are people with outstanding results, Would they be selected to go to an intermediate class continent? Ning Qing immediately understood that Ji Luofei was helping him ask this question. He had asked Ji Luofei about this matter before. When Zhu Mu'er heard Ji Luofei call her as elder sister Mu'er, she seemed to be extremely happy, and even answered carefully. This time the tournament of the 5-star academies is to promote a 6-star academy in the Hua continent. Students with excellent results in the tournament would definitely be selected to go to the intermediate level continents. Moreover, even if they were not selected to go to a mid-level continent, the rewards for the top few would still be incomparably amazing. I heard that the first place will not only be rewarded with a medium-grade spiritual artifact, but also a storage bag with a circumference of 10 feet, an essence-building pill and 3,000 high-grade spirit stones. Ning Cheng, who was standing at the side, when he heard about the storage bag, immediately moved in his heart. His storage bag was only a meter in diameter, as such it simply could not fit the spear in his hands. If he had a storage bag with a circumference of 10 feet, he would definitely be able to store the spear in his hand. The price of the storage bag was very high. Every time it was doubled, the price of the storage bag would increase by more than 10 times. Ning Qing knew that he would not be able to afford a storage bag at this moment. Heavens, 3,000 high-grade spirit stones. That is equivalent to 300,000 low-grade spirit stones. That's a lot. When someone heard Zhu Mu'er's words, he quickly exclaimed. Compared to an essence-building pill, a medium-grade spiritual artifact and a storage bag with a circumference of 10 feet, 3,000 high-grade spirit stones should not be considered much, right? Another person interjected. In fact, these are not the biggest rewards. I heard that the top 20 would have the opportunity to go to the Angry Axe Valley. There are many high-level spiritual grasses piled up like a mountain. Just by walking a few steps, you would be able to find a top-quality crafting material. What is the Angry Axe Valley? How come I have never heard of it? This cultivator who was talking endlessly was interrupted by a question from the side. I do not know, I only heard it from others. I only know that there are many good things here. Moreover, it is not in the Hua continent. I know that you are talking nonsense. If there really was such a place, then there would have already been a powerhouse who would have gone there. Why would they wait for others? As the two cultivators argued, one of them explained, the Angry Axe Valley really does exist. I have also heard about it, but I also heard that there is a cultivation level restriction in order to enter. Moreover, this valley is because of an axe that fell from the void. After that axe fell into the valley, it brought with it an aura similar to spiritual qi. Afterwards, there were more and more treasures here, and more people went in to explore these treasures. But it is very dangerous inside, and more than half of the people who went in perished. After countless years, the Angry Axe Valley has a restriction on who can go in, and not everyone can go in. What you mean is, there are also some powerhouses relics here. I have also heard about it. Whether it is true or not, I do not know. Besides, even if it is true, we do not have a chance. If the entire Hua continent's top 20 were so easy to obtain, then you would have already become a core disciple of a 5-star academy. Not only from the Hua continent, I heard that this time the 5-star academies have also recruited many talented disciples from the Ping continent and the Yuan continent. These people's qualifications are very good. Once they are trained by the 5-star academies, they would absolutely not be any weaker than the geniuses of the Hua continent. Along with the ranking issue, more and more people started to talk about it. Soon the topic turned to the 5-star academies, which one was the better one. Seeing Ji Luofei and Ning Qing not speaking, Zhu Mu'er took the initiative and said, Younger sister Luofei, with your qualifications, even if you are not selected by the 5-star academies, the 4-star academies would definitely fight for you. As for your brother Xiaocheng, as long as you enter a 4-star academy, it would not be a problem for you to become an outer sect disciple. The airship's speed was extremely fast, and in less than 2 days, it had already landed in the Moze city's relay station square. This kind of airship from outside was not allowed to fly directly into the Moze city. Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei followed the crowd off the airship, and decided to first enter the Moze city to find a rest stop, and then go to the Falling Star Academy to look for Meng Yujing. After listening to the discussions of the people on the airship, Ningcheng already knew that the 5 five-star academies of the Hua continent were the Thunder Academy, the Clear Sky Academy, the Falling Star Academy, the Luoho Academy and the Godwind Academy. The reason why the selection of the students was held in the Moze city was not because the strength of the Falling Star Academy in the Moze city was much more powerful, but because a powerhouse from an intermediate class continent had come to like the Moze city and had decided to stay in the Moze city. Since the powerhouse from the intermediate class continent had decided to stay in the Moze city, then the rest of the academies and sects of the Hua continent, of course, would also come to the Moze city. Ning Xiaocheng, Luo Fei, I'll be leaving first. Wait for me to join the Falling Star Academy, maybe I can help you. After Zhu Mu Air got off the airship, she happily waved to Ning Cheng and Ji Luo Fei, and impatiently followed the crowd towards the Moze city. Ji Luofei looked at the countless cultivators rushing towards the Moze city, and spoke with some worry in her voice. Xiaocheng, when I left here, there were not so many people, but now that there are so many people, I'm afraid that it would be difficult to find a place to stay. Otherwise, Ji Luofei was already used to calling him Xiaocheng along the way. Now that Zhu Mu Air had left, she did not change the way she addressed him. When Ningcheng heard Ji Luofei's words, he immediately understood her meaning, and simply waved his hand and said, Luo Fei, even if we do not enter the Moze city, I will not go and find your aunt. Your aunt is a kind of person, I simply do not like her. Ji Luo Fei gave a faint smile and said, and then I'll listen to you. From the bottom of her heart, she was not willing to go and find her aunt, but she was afraid that Ningcheng would not have a place to rest. The Moze city was different from other cities. There was a fee to enter the city, but it was not in the form of spirit stones, but rather in the form of gold coins. Each trip in and out would cost 10 gold coins. If it was an ordinary cultivator, then this was simply not a lot of money. But for some of the people who could not cultivate, this was a sky-high price. However, this Moze city was a big city, and the people who lived there were basically cultivators. Some of the people who could not cultivate, in addition to being servants in some of the big clans, most of them did not live in the Moze city, but rather lived in the surroundings of the Moze city. Ning Cheng brought Ji Luofei into the Moze city, and the first thing he saw was a large street that was more than 10 feet wide. This street was really too conspicuous. Not only was it spacious, but it was also bustling. From time to time on the street, there were some people riding fierce beasts passing by. Ji Luofei whispered in Ning Cheng's ear. These people riding these tamed fierce beasts are the disciples of some of the big clans. As for the people from other places, it is very rare for them to ride these fierce beasts. At this time, a red fierce beast did not know what frightened it, but it suddenly roared and rushed into the crowd. Ning Cheng was surprised in his heart. Could it be that this Moze city was the same as the Zhongli city, where people could let their beasts rampage unscrupulously in the streets? Ningcheng soon knew that this was not the case. He could see that the face of the youth who was riding on the back of the fierce beast was somewhat pale. Apparently he did not think that his beast would suddenly be frightened. Several pedestrians who were not paying attention were hit by the fierce beast. Fortunately, most of the people on the street were cultivators, and were able to get out of the way in time. Although the fierce beast rushed out more than 10 meters away, it did not cause any casualties. Seeing that the speed of the fierce beast was getting faster and faster, and was about to rush into the denser crowd, a white shadow suddenly jumped down from the restaurant on the side. This white shadow grabbed the head of the rushing fierce beast. The fierce beast seemed to have hit a solid iron wall. It uttered a loud roar, and was forced back more than 10 steps, before it came to a stop while foaming at the mouth. At this time the crowd could clearly see that the white shadow was actually a young man wearing a white robe. He was abruptly using his own hand to control the rushing fierce beast. A burst of cheers and applause resounded. Many of the people who came to the Moze city for the first time were looking forward to the Moze city even more. Ji Luofei pulled Ning Cheng to the side and whispered in Ning Cheng's ear. This person is Moze city's Shui clan's Shui Yu. My aunt had given me a portrait of him. It was this person who wanted my aunt to marry me to him. Chapter 90. Is this the son of a bitch? Ningcheng looked at the white-robed man who was cupping his fists in the middle of the applauding crowd. and suddenly felt a bit uncomfortable in his heart. This person did not look much older than him, but was already at the peak of true condensation 6th level. As long as he took a step forward, he would be able to advance to the late stages of true condensation. It looks like his qualifications are quite good, although he is not much older than me, but he already has the cultivation of true condensation 6th level. Although in his heart he was not happy with this guy called Shuiyu, but Ningqing still admired this guy's cultivation speed. Ji Luofei, on hearing Ningqing's words, said disapprovingly, "He is much older than you. I heard that he is almost 30 years old. Moreover, he has a very pure dual spiritual root, plus the Shui clan is the first clan in the Hua continent. Almost all the cultivation resources are piled up on him. In my opinion, he is simply not as good as you. Let's find a place to stay, lest you be seen by the people of the Shui clan, or even your aunt." Ningqing did not want to continue to wander on the streets. Ji Luofei obviously did not want to walk on the streets. If not for accompanying Ningqing here, she would not even want to come to the Moze city. While looking for a rest stop, Ningqing knew that what Ji Luofei said was not wrong. The two of them searched for nearly 2 hours. Even though it was already evening, they still could not find a place to stay. "Luofei, since we can't find a place to stay, then let's go out of the city," Ningqing helplessly said. Ji Luofei was about to agree, when she heard a surprised voice. "Ningqing? Why are you here? Weren't you chased out of the Zhongli city by Gu Fei?" "Ho Chuan." Ningqing knew the person in front of him. Ho Chuan was one of the 10 people selected by the Zhongqin 2-Star Academy. Moreover, at the entrance of the Zhongqin 2-Star Academy, when Gu Fei challenged him, Ho Chuan also took the initiative to speak up for him. At this time Ho Chuan was standing next to a beautiful girl. It seems that she came out together with Ho Chuan. After recognizing Ho Chuan, Ningqing quickly understood. Ho Chuan was a student of the Falling Star Academy. Since the Falling Star Academy was in the Moze city, it was normal to see Ho Chuan here. Ho Chuan did not finish his words, but Ningqing already knew what he meant. He had been chased out of the Zhongli city by Gu Fei, so how could he appear in the Hua continent, which was so far from the continent in the Mo continent? Logically speaking, he should have been killed by Gu Fei. I really did not expect to meet Brother Ho here. Initially, after Gu Fei and I left the Zhongli city, the two of us had a huge battle, and I was lucky enough to kill Gu Fei. If it were replaced with someone else, he would not even bother to explain it. Ho Chuan obviously did not believe Ningqing's explanation. Gu Fei was followed by Gu Yiming. It would be strange if Ningqing had the time to fight with Gu Fei. He did not continue to ask. Looking at Ji Luofei standing beside Ningqing, he understood in his heart that Ningqing should have come here to look for Ji Luofei. At this time, his view of Ningqing had completely changed. Ningqing had accomplished several things that were simply impossible to accomplish. Not to mention escaping from the hands of the Gu brothers. It was not easy for them to travel from the Ping continent to the Hua continent. Even if he arrived at the Hua continent, it would not be easy to find Ji Luofei from the Falling Star Academy. However, Ningqing managed to achieve all of these. Not only did he manage to do it, but he also did it perfectly. However, just like before, when he looked at Ningqing's cultivation, it did not seem to have changed much, and he still could not see it clearly. He already had the cultivation of the Great Circle of Qi gathering 7th level. He did not believe that Ningqing's cultivation was higher than his own. "Elder brother Ning, are you looking for a place to stay?" Ho Chuan's view of Ningqing had completely changed, and the tone of his voice showed that he wanted to make friends with him. "Yes, it's just that I can't find a place to stay in the Moze city," Ningqing said with regret. Ho Chuan looked at Ji Luofei and said in a puzzled voice, "Junior apprentice Sister Ji should be a student of the Falling Star Academy. As long as Junior apprentice Sister Ji shows her identity, then you can find a place to stay in any of the rest stops." Ningqing quickly said, "Luofei is no longer a student of the Falling Star Academy. We did not tell anyone that we came to the Moze city, so I ask Elder Brother Ho not to tell anyone that Luofei has come to the Moze city." Ho Chuan nodded. Even if Ningqing had not told him about it, he would not have spoken about this matter. He was not a talkative person. "Let me help you." This kind of simple matter, Ho Chuan was already planning to help. Ho Chuan brought Ningqing and Ji Luofei to the nearest rest stop. This rest stop was the one that Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei had just come to. But this time when Ho Chuan took out his academy identity, it was very easy for him to help Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei book a room. Seeing that Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei had only asked for a room, Ho Chuan did not speak much. After saying a few simple words to Ning Cheng, he left the rest stop with the woman beside him. The reason why Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei lived together, in addition to the lack of space, and not wanting to trouble Ho Chuan, there was another reason. It was because they could look after each other. Once there was an emergency, the two of them could communicate with each other at any time. I forgot to ask Ho Chuan to help me make an appointment with Meng Yu Jiang. After Ho Chuan left, Ning Cheng suddenly patted his head. He should have asked Ho Chuan about this matter first. If he wanted to find Meng Yu Jiang, then it would definitely be somewhat difficult. Ji Luofei shook her head and said, Ho Chuan would not be able to see Meng Yu Jiang. If you ask him to help you, then it would be difficult for him. Since that is the case, then I will think of another way. The Moze Grand Plaza is currently recruiting students. Tomorrow I will go to the Clear Sky Academy to take a look. You stay in your residence and cultivate. Ning Cheng thought that although Ji Luofei had only stayed in the Moze city for a short period of time, but there were definitely a lot of people who knew her, so staying in the rest stop was much better than going out. Ning Cheng's thinking was relatively simple. If he and Ji Luofei wanted to go to an intermediate class continent, then they would have to join a 5-star academy. The saying that it was good to enjoy the shade under a big tree was not without reason. The Clear Sky Academy was the best choice. Ning Cheng believed that with his own ability, it would not be a problem for him to be selected to enter the Clear Sky Academy. As for Ji Luofei, he would use the Clear Sky Command Medallion. The next morning, Ning Cheng went to the Moze Grand Plaza alone. Since there were so many academies and academies from the Hua continent that had come to the Moze city to select their disciples, Ning Cheng guessed that the Moze Grand Plaza that these academies were temporarily stationed in would definitely not be small. When Ning Cheng saw the Moze Grand Plaza, he came to know just how big this plaza was. Ning Cheng estimated that this public square was dozens of kilometers long and wide. The public square was densely packed with academies and large and small sects. The number of disciples who came to participate in the selection of these academies was simply innumerable. Nevertheless, the logos of the 5-star academies were still very clear at a glance, and Ning Cheng immediately saw the Clear Sky Academy. Ning Cheng did not immediately go to the place where the Clear Sky Academy would select their disciples, but followed the many people who had just arrived in the Moze city to look at the selection rules of the major academies and sects. The rules were engraved on a huge stone tablet at the entrance to the public square. After looking at the stone tablet and asking the people around, Ning Cheng came to know that his previous understanding was wrong. This time there were so many academies and sects from the Hua continent gathered in the Moze Grand Plaza. Rather than saying that it was the selection of disciples, it would be better to say that it was the preliminary round. Only those who had excellent results in the preliminary round would have the possibility to participate in the disciple selection, or continue to participate in the semifinals. The rules of the preliminary round were very clear. It was a written test. All the cultivators who wanted to enter the second round of the semifinals had to pass the written test of the preliminary round. Only by passing the written test would they be able to enter the second round of the semifinals. There were 2 ways to obtain the qualifications for the written test. First, pure spiritual roots, dual spiritual roots and main spiritual roots could directly go to any of the academies or sects to register. Second, the rest of the cultivators with spiritual roots, if they wanted to obtain the qualifications for the written test, they could only go to the 5-star academies or sects to obtain it. Third, there were a total of 5 written tests, and each test would be held for 5,000 people. It would be held once a month for 5 consecutive months. Ning Cheng sighed in his heart. There were so many cultivators who came to the Moze city, but only 25,000 people were able to participate in the first round of the written test. In other words, more than 90% of the people were not even qualified to participate in the first round. However, Ning Cheng also knew that this was already very fair, as everyone who came here would have many opportunities. With so many academies taking the test one by one, maybe one of the academies would give them the qualifications for the preliminary round. The preliminary round would last for half a year, so there was a lot of time. If I can't obtain the qualifications for the written test, then wouldn't I not have the opportunity to participate in the preliminary round? Someone immediately asked in surprise. Apparently he felt that this rule was inappropriate. Every academy has the qualifications to participate in the preliminary round of the written test, although the low-level academies and the 5-star academies have a limited quota. If you have the ability, how could you not get it? If you don't have the ability, then why would you participate? Someone next to him immediately retorted. You also know that the quota is limited. In case someone secretly manipulated it, the quota has already been allocated. Why would they wait for us? The person who thought that the rules were inappropriate still disagreed. The person who refuted him was too lazy to continue to pay attention to him. But even if he did not pay attention to him, there was still someone next to him who spoke. You are stupid. Do you know that if a low-level academy or academy can send a student to a 5-star academy, then do you know how big the reward would be? You can't even imagine it. This is not the main thing. If any of the academies or academies were to show off in the written test, then that academy would immediately become famous, and then there would be more people flocking to it, and the academy or academy would be promoted to a higher level. In this kind of situation, there are still people who dare to secretly manipulate it, unless they are tired of living. The more capable you are, the more popular you would be in the low-level academies and academies. I know this. Last month was the 4th preliminary round. There was a 2-star academy that chose a student who scored 76 points in the preliminary round and was selected to go to the Clear Sky Academy. Because of this 2-star academy was promoted to a 3-star academy and also obtained a lot of resources. What is the written test about? Someone asked. Who knows? If you knew, then why would you call for a written test? I only know that the content of the 5 preliminary rounds is different. Ning Cheng understood. If the qualifications were good, then they could directly go to a 5-star academy and represent the 5-star academy in the written test. If the qualifications were not good, then they could find a low-level academy or academy to get a quota, and then represent the low-level academy or academy to participate in the written test. Chapter 91. Ning Cheng stopped a chi-gathering cultivator beside him and said, "This friend, I just heard people say that as long as you get 76 points, you will be selected to enter the Clear Sky Academy?" The cultivator stared at Ning Cheng for a while, and then said in a speechless manner, "You just arrived in Moze City? Do you know what 76 points represents? You can go to the 6 array formation screens over there and look at the results of the preliminary round, and you will know what 76 points represents." Ning Cheng looked at the place where the cultivator was pointing and saw a row of 6 array formation screens. He walked to the front of the first array formation screen and immediately saw what was going on. These 6 array formation screens showed the results of the preliminary round, and the first array formation screen showed the results of the first preliminary round. The array formation screen showed only 500 people. According to the calculation of the number of participants in each preliminary round was 5,000 people. This was a 10-to-1 rate. The highest score in the first preliminary round was 71 points, and the 500th place on the big screen only had a few dozen points. The second big screen showed the results of the second preliminary round, but the first place in the second preliminary round had a score of 94 points, while the second place only had a score of 63 points. The 500th place also had a few dozen points. Ning Cheng looked at the results of the 4th preliminary round and finally discovered that the score of 76 points was the 3rd place in the written preliminary round. The 5th big screen was blank, because the 5th preliminary round had not yet started. The 6th big screen was also blank. Ning Cheng had to find another person and asked, "Excuse me, is the 6th big screen set up for the final preliminary round rankings? Does it mean that the first 2,500 people on the 5 big screens will all enter the semifinals? How could it be so simple? The 6th big screen shows the final preliminary round rankings, but it is not arranged according to what you said. Finally, from the first 2,500 people in the preliminary round, Only 1,000 people will be selected to participate in the semifinals. The rules of the selection are based on the highest score. The person explained. The questions of each preliminary written round are different. Isn't this choice unfair? Ningcheng did not know if the questions of the written preliminary round were the same, but he guessed that it should be different. How can there be absolute fairness? But since no one raised any objections, then it means that there will not be any problems. This person obviously did not know much. Ningcheng did not know what the topic of the written exam was, but he simply did not want to think about it, as there were still a few days left until the 5th written exam. He had taken countless tests since he was young. If others could take the test, how could he be afraid of it? At this time he wanted to go to the Clear Sky Academy. He wanted to first ask about the Clear Sky Command Medallion. If the Clear Sky Command Medallion could be used, then he would ask if he could represent the Clear Sky Academy in the written examination. Even if he could not represent the Clear Sky Academy, but there were so many academies and academies in this public square, it should be possible for him to find a place to participate in the written examination. Compared to some of the lower-leveled academies and sects that were overcrowded with people, there were only a few people in front of the 5-star academies. Everyone knew that if you do not have a good spiritual root, then you should not go to a 5-star academy and make a fool of yourself. Excuse me. What color is the main spiritual root? Ningcheng had not even finished speaking when a middle-aged man sitting in front of the Clear Sky Academy's station lazily interrupted Ningcheng's words. Ningcheng had to speak up. I don't have a main spiritual root. Pa, the middle-aged man slammed the table in front of him. Who sent you here if you don't have a main spiritual root? Do you think that the 5-star academies are just playing around with you? If everyone was like you, then how could we do anything? Fuck off. Ningcheng almost pulled out the spear on his back and shot it at him. A trivial chi-gathering cultivator, yet still dared to be so arrogant. I want to ask if I can join the Clear Sky Academy with the Clear Sky Command Medallion? Ningcheng's tone became stiff. What? You have the Clear Sky Command Medallion? The chi-gathering cultivator's face showed a surprised expression. He immediately stood up, and his tone immediately eased by 180 degrees. Excuse me, did you bring the Clear Sky Command Medallion? Let me check it. Ningcheng took out the Clear Sky Command Medallion and placed it in the hands of the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man looked at the command medallion for a while, as his face constantly changed. After more than 10 breaths he asked, Where did you get the Clear Sky Command Medallion? Was it an accident of an academy or an individual? Are you a rogue cultivator? Ningcheng did not want to hide it, and just said, Yes, I am indeed a rogue cultivator. This Clear Sky Command Medallion was something that I obtained by chance. The middle-aged man's eyes flashed with joy, then he coughed, and his expression became dignified as he continued to speak. What is your request? Ningcheng looked at the middle-aged man's face, and felt that this Clear Sky Command Medallion still had some use. He directly spoke out his thoughts. I have a friend who wants to use this Clear Sky Command Medallion to join the Clear Sky Academy. If it is possible, I would also like to ask, is it possible to add a place for me to participate in the written test through this Command Medallion? If the second one is not good, then I would like to add another one. Okay, I know your request can be completely satisfied. I will put away the Clear Sky Command Medallion. You can fill out the form here. I will apply for a place for you to participate in the 5th written test. The middle-aged man once again interrupted Ningcheng's words. But this time Ningcheng felt that something was wrong. He had taken out the Clear Sky Command Medallion, not to obtain a place for the written test. His main purpose was to obtain a place for Ji Luofei to join the Clear Sky Academy. Then he himself would pass the written test and enter the Clear Sky Academy. In this case, both of them would be able to join the Clear Sky Academy, and would be able to look after each other. But this man only said that he would be given a place in the written test, and did not say that he would agree to a place in the Clear Sky Academy. Ningcheng did not fill out the form, and just asked, My main requirement is not to participate in the written examination, but to enter the Clear Sky Academy. This middle-aged man gave a cold snort, and once again interrupted Ningcheng's words. Each Clear Sky Command Medallion can only make one request. I have already fulfilled one of your requests. if you dare to be unreasonable again, then do not blame me for calling the law enforcers over. Ningqing finally understood why this person did not take away his Clear Sky Command medallion. This kind of shameless person was something that he had never seen before. Give me the Clear Sky Command medallion, and I will not make any requests for the time being. Although Ningqing could not wait to immediately teach this middle-aged man a lesson, but he still held back his anger. This middle-aged man looked at Ningqing with disdain and spoke. Do you think that the Clear Sky Command medallion is a child's play? This is something that my Clear Sky Academy has given out. Every time you complete a request, it will be taken back. Now we have already agreed to your request. Hurry up and fill in the form. Otherwise, it will be considered as giving up. Ningqing was extremely angry. This Qi gathering cultivator's eyes flashed. It was obvious that he did not dare to make a big deal out of this matter. He simply said, since that is the case, then I will break in and look for someone who can speak. Let's see if you, a trivial Qi gathering cultivator, can make a decision. This Qi gathering cultivator saw that Ningqing was not intimidated, and his eyes flashed with a trace of panic. At this time, an essence-building cultivator wearing the uniform of the Clear Sky Academy came over. This essence-building cultivator swept his eyes over the two people and asked in a somewhat displeased manner, what the hell is going on here? Uncle Jing, this person does not have a main spiritual root. This Qi gathering cultivator had not even finished speaking when this cultivator called Uncle Jing coldly stared at Ningqing and said, this is a 5-star academy. You do not have a main spiritual root. If you dare to continue to cause trouble here, then do not blame me for being impolite. Ningqing did not want to continue to be long-winded. He was ready to take back the Clear Sky Command medallion. This essence-building cultivator did not even finish listening to his words, and immediately became angry, coupled with the fact that the Clear Sky Academy used this kind of person to select their registered disciples. It could be seen that the Clear Sky Academy was really not that good. Just when Ningqing was about to ask for the Clear Sky Command medallion, he suddenly saw Lan Yinyu. Lan Yinyu was walking towards him along with an old man with the cultivation of essence-building realm. Ningqing did not continue to explain, as he turned around and walked away. A Clear Sky Command medallion for him was nothing. He was not in a hurry to take revenge for this enmity. When he had the opportunity, he would definitely make this Qi gathering cultivator, who had swallowed his Clear Sky Command medallion, pay him back with his skin and bones. At this time, even if he was asked to join the Clear Sky Academy, he did not have any interest in it. The Clear Sky Academy was at best a 5-star academy. It was not worth it for him to curry favor with them. Lan Yinyu and he had a grudge, although he was not afraid of this woman. But the essence-building cultivator beside her was something that Ningqing did not want to come into contact with. If he did not feel that this tournament was an opportunity for him, he would have already taken Ji Luofei away. As for the matter with Ko Hong, he could come back later to look for Meng Yujing. The Qi gathering realm middle-aged man saw that Ningqing did not even bother to explain, and just turned around and walked away. He was even more ecstatic in his heart. He had already planned it out. If Ningqing really spoke about the Clear Sky Command medallion, then he would say that Ningqing had obtained a Clear Sky Command medallion. He was explaining to Ningqing that the Clear Sky Command medallion under normal circumstances could only make one request. The role of the Clear Sky Command medallion in the Clear Sky Academy was far more than just a simple quota. The holder of this token could not only join the Clear Sky Academy, but could also obtain a best quality artifact, as well as a true grade cultivation method that everyone envied. Do not look at the fact that he was selecting disciples from outside the Clear Sky Academy. He was only a disciple of the Clear Sky Academy's outer court. Once he obtained the Clear Sky Command medallion, he would immediately become a disciple of the inner court, and would be able to enjoy all kinds of treatment. As for Ningqing, who had taken out the Clear Sky Command medallion, he had already planned it out. As long as he could find the right time, he would immediately destroy Ningqing. There were 5,000 people in each preliminary round. It seemed like a lot, but it really wasn't much. Ningqing went from a 4-star academy to a 3-star academy, and then went to various academies, asking no less than 20 or 30 people, but still did not manage to get a spot. He had the cultivation of true condensation first level, But this kind of cultivation was not as good as a qi-gathering 9th-level cultivator. The true condensation cultivators and the qi-gathering cultivators had the same questions in the preliminary round, but in the final round, they would have to compete separately. Once separated, the true condensation first level would undoubtedly be the worst among the true condensation cultivators. Ning Xiaocheng. Ning Cheng suddenly heard someone calling him from behind. He did not need to look back, he knew that the person calling him was Zhu Mu'er. This woman was really everywhere. Listening to her happy tone, he guessed that she had obtained a spot in the final round. Ning Cheng turned around and saw Zhu Mu'er waving excitedly at him. He walked over and smiled. What a coincidence, Zhu Mu'er. Chapter 92. The Moze Grand Plaza's examination venue was a large hall. After Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei made an appointment, they followed the other participants into the examination hall. Although the topic of this written exam is different from the previous 4 written exams, but I am sure that the degree of difficulty will be the same. In the previous 4 written exams, we tested on talismans, array formations, refining artifacts, restrictions and other basic materials. Today we will be testing on the knowledge of alchemy that everyone is familiar with. Of course, we will also be testing on the basic materials. If Zhu Mu'er could not find a place to stay, then he intended to invite Zhu Mu'er to stay at their rest stop. The beautiful young woman saw that everyone understood, and said with a smile, "Everyone, do not stare at me, please pay attention to the table in front of you. The table in front of everyone is a projection array. The topic of this exam is the spiritual grasses of the Alchemy Foundation. The spiritual grasses mainly record the color, taste, shape, nature and other content of the spiritual grasses. This time we are not taking out a complete set of spiritual grasses. There are a total of about 4,600 pages. Ning Cheng also secretly thought that this was abnormal. Almost in less than 5 seconds they would have to look at a piece of paper. Because Ning Cheng knew that here, a page was equivalent to a piece of paper, which was equivalent to 2 pages back on Earth. Moreover, the pages here were a bit bigger. If the words were a bit smaller, then it would be too terrible. After the beautiful young woman finished, Ning Cheng immediately saw the first page of the spiritual grasses on the table in front of him. The content was so dense that Ning Cheng did not dare to continue thinking about other things. His whole mind was focused on memorizing the spiritual grasses in front of him. After the man with the bitter melon face heard Zhu Mu'er's words, his face became even more bitter. "Miss Mu'er, my Huayu Academy has a total of 2 quotas. I have already given you 1, and you still want to ask me for it. Why don't you go look for it in other places?" A few days passed by quickly. These days Ning Cheng did not go looking for Meng Yujing. He knew that with Meng Yujing's status, he would not be able to see her. Ning Cheng took the jade card and thanked Zhu Mu'er, and then said to Sect Head Yin, "Sect Head Yin, thank you very much for your jade card. I will certainly not let you give me your quota." "Is your father an advanced level pill master?" Ning Cheng immediately asked his own guess. "Hey, how did you know that my father is a pill master?" Zhu Mu'er stared at Ning Cheng in amazement and asked. Alright, I've already said it once, it's meaningless for you to say it again." Zhu Mu'er waved her hand and said in a very magnanimous manner. The hall was so spacious that it didn't seem crowded at all even with 5,000 people sitting in it. For a true condensation 9th level cultivator, there was nothing more important than an essence-building pill. Ning Cheng sat down according to the number on the jade card, and sat down together with the rest of the people who were participating in the preliminary round. He had tried to use his spiritual force to scan the hall as soon as he had entered. However, he realized that his spiritual force could not even extend an inch, let alone scan the entire hall. Not only that, his mind was blank for several breaths of time. For a true condensation 9th level cultivator to be this polite to Zhu Mu'er, it certainly was not because he had a good relationship with Zhu Mu'er, but rather because Zhu Mu'er had promised him something that was very important to him. Moreover, this matter was also related to Zhu Mu'er's father. Sect Head Yin hesitated for a moment, but when he heard Zhu Mu'er's rhetorical question, he finally clenched his teeth and said, "I agree, I will give you both of the quotas. However, after this matter is over, you must take me to see Master Medicine Master." In addition to the chair that he was sitting on, There was only a table in front of him, and on the table there were a few pieces of white paper and a pen. Other than that, there was nothing else. Well, the introductions will end here. All the candidates who are participating in the preliminary round, please pay attention to your own table. The projection will now begin. Perhaps this was a teacher from a 5-star academy. Once they thought of entering a 5-star academy, they would have such a teacher to teach them how to cultivate. All the people who were participating in the preliminary round felt their hearts burning with passion. They were even more eager to get into action, hoping that they would be able to get the best results in the examination. The beautiful young woman had just finished speaking, when a lot of discussions broke out below. Even Ning Cheng frowned. He simply had not studied the basics of alchemy, so wouldn't those who studied alchemy have a huge advantage? No wonder there was such a big difference in the scores of the first 4 rounds. The people who scored high in the first round must have studied it. Ning Cheng thought about how Zhu Mu'er casually took out a level 3 spiritual growth pill, and then thought about how this sect head was at true condensation 9th level. Plus he was very concerned about the matter that Zhu Mu'er had promised him. Ning Cheng could almost guess that Zhu Mu'er's father should be a pill master. Since this sect head had asked Zhu Mu'er for help, it was very likely that it had something to do with the essence-building pill. Ning Cheng said his goodbyes to Zhu Mu'er, and returned to the rest stop and told Ji Luofei about the jade card that he had obtained from Zhu Mu'er. But Ji Luofei felt that this Zhu Mu'er had a very straightforward temperament. After half an hour, a beautiful woman wearing a plain white robe came in. She first looked at the people in the hall who were participating in the written examination, and then walked to the front of the round table and said, "Today is the last round of the preliminary written examination for the 5-5-star academies of the Hua continent. After today's round, the overall ranking list of the top 1,000 will be released. Most of these 1,000 people will be selected by the 5-star academies. Some of the lucky ones may even be able to participate in the tournament between the 5-5-star academies 2 years later. I would like to wish all of you in this preliminary round, and would be able to get the best results." On this day, it was already the time for the 5th round of the written examination. Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei had already arrived at the Moze Grand Plaza. In order to avoid Ji Luofei being recognized by her paternal aunt, Ning Cheng deliberately made Ji Luofei wear a veil, and wore a female cultivator's wide-brimmed hat. If he had not deliberately swept out with his spiritual consciousness, Ning Cheng believed that Ji Luofei would not have been recognized. "How come younger sister Luofei did not come together with you? Is it possible that you are also looking for a place in the preliminary round?" "That's right, I know. You must have come to help younger sister Luofei to find a place, right?" Zhu Mu'er asked Ning Cheng 2 questions one after another. Ning Cheng did not think that this Zhu Mu'er would be so eloquent. He did not know what kind of promise she had made to the Huayu Academy's sovereign. This Huayu Academy's sovereign seemed to have the cultivation of true condensation 9th level, and should be the sovereign of a 2-star academy. Ning Cheng thought to himself, with his powerful memory, he did not believe that he would not be able to score 70 to 80 points. His memory was beyond the scope of his powerful memory. It could even be said to be a special ability. The beautiful young woman saw that the crowd below was a bit noisy, so she raised her hand and said, "After everyone has finished looking at the questions, you will know that even if there are some people who have studied alchemy, they would still be standing on the same starting line as you. Of course, it does not rule out that there are some people who have studied systematically, and even the questions that I am about to take out, they might have seen it before. For these people to score high, it is only right because they are diligent enough, or because they have an opportunity. Of course I found it. It's very simple. My father is known by many people here," Zhu Mu'er said without even half a moment of hesitation. Almost all the people sucked in a breath of cold air. No wonder the score in the previous exam was so low. To memorize 4,600 pages of content in just 6 hours, this was simply too crazy. The first page was displayed for less than 5 seconds, and the second page was already displayed. Those who had a poor memory could not even remember the first few lines. Zhu Mu'er waved her hand and said, "One thing does not bother 2 masters, you can rest assured. I have already promised you, I will definitely help you. My father always listens to my words, and will absolutely not hesitate for even half a moment." You can only profit from it. Besides, even if you participate by yourself, I estimate that you will not be able to enter the list. If you let me and Sister Luofei participate, then we might really be able to help you get a place in the semifinals. Then your Huayu Academy would definitely make a fortune. When Ningcheng heard that the written exam would take 3 hours, he was surprised in his heart. How could it take so long? 7 hours, When he heard that it would take 3 hours to read the questions, and only half an hour to write the questions, he was even more confused. The Moze City's Grand Plaza was soon filled with cultivators from all over the place, because today was the 5th preliminary round. After the 5th preliminary round, the list of 1,000 people who would enter the semifinals would also come out at the same time. So the people in the Moze City today were especially many. All of them wanted to know who was qualified to enter the semifinals. Ningcheng had to put away the jade card, and looked at Zhu Mu'er and asked, "Did you find a place to stay?" Zhu Mu'er triumphantly took the jade card from sect head Zhu, and placed it in Ningcheng's hands and said, "Look, isn't this the jade card to participate in the preliminary round?" After she asked, she did not wait for Ningcheng to answer, and once again turned to a man with a bitter melon face behind her and said, "Sect head Yin, you might as well give the other quota to us. Anyway, it would be useless for you to participate. Moreover, you would not be able to find a better person to represent your Huayu Academy in the preliminary round." Everyone thought that it was true. Other people knew a lot, but it was also because of their hard work and opportunities. Wasn't it better for the 5-star academies to select their disciples the stronger the better? That is natural. I also have to go back, Zhu Mu'er said, and did not forget to greet the sect headine of the Huayu Academy. After the beautiful young woman finished, she paused for a moment, and waited for everyone to understand the importance of the 5th written exam, before she continued to speak in a soft voice. Today's written exam time is 3 hours, of which the time to look at the questions is 3 hours, and the time to answer the questions is half an hour. Since Ningcheng could not use his spiritual sense, he could only rely on his memory. Ningcheng finally understood why his mind had gone blank a moment ago. Ningcheng was speechless and said in his heart, "You just wrote a few words on your face. My father is a pill master." Is it really that hard to guess? With this kind of personality, walking around in the Hua continent, Ningcheng was really worried for her. A few days ago, she was still saying that she would rely on her own ability to show some results to her father, but now she was using her father's name to show off. This Zhu Mu'er really. This beautiful white-robed woman was not only extremely beautiful, but her voice was also incomparably warm, making the people who heard her to feel a kind of comfort and desire in their hearts, hoping that she would continue to speak. Ningcheng was thinking that a cultivator with a strong spiritual sense would definitely be able to remember more things, when the beautiful young woman once again said with a smile, "When the spiritual grasses come out, everyone please remember them with your heart. Do not use your spiritual sense, as this place is shielded from the use of spiritual sense. If you use your spiritual sense, not only will you not be able to see anything, it will also make you fall into a blank space." It seems that if this Zhu Mu'er did not rely on her father, then she would have to show some results to her father, as she still had a long way to go. Ningcheng rubbed his head and said to Zhu Mu'er, "Then I will go back first, otherwise Luo Fei will be waiting anxiously. I wish you a good result in the preliminary round, and then let your father have a whole new level of respect for you." The contents of the 4,600 pages of the spiritual grasses will be displayed in the projection array formation in front of you in 3 hours. You will need to memorize all the contents of the 4,600 pages within these 3 hours. After the 3 hours have passed, we will choose the questions from the 4,600 pages. Chapter 93. Time slowly passed by. Some people even completely fainted after reading a few hundred pages. So much information flashed by in a few seconds. One could not use their spiritual sense to memorize, and could only rely on their memory. Just thinking about it made one feel scared. Even if one's memory was powerful, continuously using high-intensity memory for a few hours, it was extremely difficult to persist. After an hour passed, fainting was already considered light. There were even several cultivators who participated in the written exam who, because of using their brain too much, vomited blood on the spot. Ning Cheng at this time was completely immersed in the deep level of memory. The content of the exam was indeed a bit stressful for him, but the pressure was not too much. Previously, when he took an exam, he would only read a book for 1 or 2 hours before the exam. The intensity of that kind of memory was also very high. The reason why it was not as good as now was because he always had a lot of time before the exam. Moreover, he did not need to score 100 points, as he could just sweep his eyes over the page and memorize it. Now that he could only flash a page every 5 seconds, for Ning Cheng, it was still within the acceptable range. As long as he looked at the place, under normal circumstances, he would completely remember it. Ning Cheng knew that his ability, no matter where, was a very special ability. In the Yixing mainland, even the true cultivators could fly, although this kind of special ability was amazing, but it was not as outrageous as it was on Earth. In the beginning, Ning Cheng had just finished reading a page and 2 sides, when the projection array formation on the desktop flipped over. Later, when Ning Cheng finished reading a new page, he still had time to spare. Although this spare time was only half a second, but it was enough for Ning Cheng to sort out the memories and rest his brain. Towards the end, Ning Cheng was no longer memorizing for the exam. He felt that the things that he was looking at were extremely useful things. A variety of spiritual grasses, their shapes, grades, colors, odors, and other identification methods. A variety of spiritual grasses' growth environment and special effects, which pills could be refined, and which spiritual grasses could be combined to produce different effects. Ning Cheng remembered all of these things. He believed that these things would be useful to him in the future. Once, Annie had also given him a book on spiritual grasses, but the content of that book was not even a tenth of what was in here. 3 hours for Ning Cheng. It really was just a blink of an eye. When he found that the projection on the table in front of him had disappeared, only then did he raise his head. Looking at the beautiful young woman who was still standing on the round platform, Ning Cheng also had a good impression of this beautiful young woman in his heart. For 6 consecutive hours, this beautiful young woman had not moved at all. This teacher was also very competent. The key point was that Ning Cheng could see that this woman's cultivation level was at least at the essence-building realm, or even beyond the essence-building realm. All the examinees who participated in the preliminary written test focused their attention on the beautiful young woman, because there were no projections. That young woman once again spoke with a warm voice. There is still half an hour left. I will give everyone half an incense stick worth of time to sort out the things that you have just memorized. The examination room was completely silent. Half an incense stick worth of time quickly passed by. The young woman continued to speak. Before the written test, all the participants please write their name, the sect that they represent on the top of the white paper. After waiting for a moment, she estimated that everyone had already written their name. The young woman then said, "Now everyone please look at the questions. On the table in front of everyone, there will be a projection of the written test's questions. Write down the various properties and main characteristics of the 10 spiritual grasses on the white paper. Remember to be very detailed. The degree of detail must be compared to the basic spiritual grasses that you had just seen. These 10 questions each have 10 points, a total of 100 points." Ning Cheng sighed. This kind of question was not a challenge to him. He had already memorized the spiritual grasses that he had just seen. As long as the questions were in the spiritual grasses, he would definitely be able to write them down. Ning Cheng looked at the questions and sure enough, they were all from the spiritual grasses that he had just seen. If he had not seen the spiritual grasses, he would not have been able to answer any of these questions. These spiritual grasses were what he had just seen. He had never seen them in other books before. But when Ning Cheng looked at the 10th question, he was immediately dumbfounded. Please write down the first spiritual grasses on page 2932. As well as its various characteristics. It was not that he did not know, but he had not only memorized the contents of each page, but also the serial number of each page. The key point was that if he had to answer this question, it would mean that his incomparably powerful memory would be exposed. If he did not answer this question, then he could use the excuse that he had seen the basic spiritual grasses in other places. Ning Cheng knew that even if he did not answer this question, he would definitely be able to enter a 5-star academy. Those 76 points were able to enter. If he could not even get into an academy with 90 points, then it would be a strange thing. If he did this question, then he would be in the limelight, but the benefits would not be much. At best, he would be able to change his ranking from second to first, and then he would be able to participate in the semifinals as the first, but there would not be any substantial rewards. Regarding the exposure of his memory in this kind of place, Ningcheng was not very worried. The Yixing mainland and Earth were different. This was a true cultivation mainland. There were all kinds of strange people, and he was not the only one with a powerful memory. Moreover, in the future when his spiritual consciousness became stronger, his memory would become secondary. What Ningcheng was interested in was whether or not there would be any substantial rewards, but now that he did not have any rewards, he did not want to be in the limelight. After all, he still had the mysterious yellow bead in his body, since the last time when the mysterious yellow origin had reshaped his meridians, it had integrated with him. Ningcheng believed that an average person would absolutely not be able to see that he had the mysterious yellow bead, but it was always better to be careful. Since he had already achieved his goal, why would he want to be in the limelight? Ningcheng quickly finished the 9 questions, leaving only the 10th question that he did not fill in. Seeing that half an hour was about to pass, the middle-aged beautiful woman suddenly opened her mouth and said, "This written exam is the same as the previous ones, but there is also an extra question, and the extra question is also 10 points. I will be the one to answer the extra question. Please listen to the question." Ningcheng then understood that the full score was 110 points. If he knew how to answer the extra question, then as long as it was not particularly eye-catching, he would not continue to pretend that he did not know how to answer it. Seeing that all the people were ready with a pen and paper, the middle-aged beautiful woman spoke in a slow voice. "We were just looking at the basic spiritual grasses, and now we are going to give the extra question to the simplest spiritual grasses. The question is as follows: there are now 10 different kinds of spiritual grasses. If you are required to pick out 6 of them to refine into a furnace of pills, how many ways are there to pick them?" This question sounded very simple, and some of the people were already excitedly picking up their pens and combining them on a piece of white paper. But Ningcheng was shocked. Was there really a question of permutation and combination? It took him less than 3 seconds to figure out the answer. The answer was 210. But if one thought that this question was very simple, then it would be a big mistake. In just a few minutes, it would be very difficult to list 210 different combinations. Sure enough, the examinees who had started to use their pens to arrange the combinations immediately knew the difficulty of this question. It was not a matter of a few or a few dozen. It was even more than a few dozen. The last bit of time quickly passed by, but the people who could really calculate the results like Ningcheng were very few. Time is up. Please use the jade card that you used to enter the written examination room to press down on the answer sheet. After 5 breaths, the answer sheet will be directly transmitted away. Hearing that after 5 breaths, the answer sheet would be transmitted away, the examinees who were still arranging the spiritual grasses quickly wrote down a number and pressed their jade card on the answer sheet. Ningcheng had already finished answering the questions. When his answer sheet was transmitted away, he followed the crowd of people who were squeezing out of the examination room. Ningcheng had just come out when Ji Luofei, who had been waiting for a long time, anxiously ran over and asked, "How are the results of the written examination?" "There should not be any problem on the list. The list will come out in a moment. Let's wait outside the big screen." Ningcheng pulled Ji Luofei out of the crowd. Outside the Moz Grand Plaza's 6 huge array formation screens. At this time it was already crowded with people. All the people were waiting for the results of the written examination to come out. Because the 5 preliminary written examinations had already ended, all the people began to talk about the questions. When the others heard that the 5th round was to memorize nearly 5,000 pages of spiritual grasses in 3 hours, and even without the use of spiritual sense, they immediately became speechless. Then someone said that the previous few rounds were also to memorize around 4,000 pages of spiritual grasses. Those who did not participate in the preliminary round did not even have the slightest bit of hope. This kind of examination definitely did not have any chance. Big brother Yang this time is definitely the first. I guess that after the score of 94 points came out, the teachers who marked the paper would not dare to believe it. Not far from Ning Cheng, a young girl wearing a pink robe covered her mouth with her hand and spoke with a chuckle. Do you still need to say it? You can see that the third place only has 76 points. The difference between him and senior apprentice brother Lung is too far. Someone next to the young girl immediately echoed. A man wearing a white robe quickly humbly cupped his hands and said, "The results of the 5th round have not yet come out. It is still too early to say that I am the first." Big brother Yang, you are 100% the first. I guess that the only person with a pure spiritual root who is willing to participate in the preliminary written examination is Big brother Yang. This young girl did not agree with the modesty of the white-robed man. Of course, this is what strength is. If it was someone else with a pure spiritual root, it would be absolutely impossible for them to participate in the preliminary round. What is the purpose of the competition? Isn't it just to be selected by a 5-star academy? Senior apprentice brother Lung has a pure with spiritual root. Any of the 5-star academies would definitely fight for him. I heard that the representative of the Thunder 5-star academy, Ling Naixin, also has a pure spiritual root. She is already a core disciple of the Thunder Academy, but she is also the same as senior apprentice brother Lung, and must sign up for the preliminary written examination. A gray-robed youth spoke out, and also refuted the young girl in the pink robe. Ling Naixin? Isn't that the one who scored 85 points in the 3rd round of the written examination? Someone asked in amazement. Apparently they did not think that the two people who scored high points would both have pure spiritual roots. Even if that Ling Naixin has a pure spiritual root, she only scored 85 points, so she would only be ranked 2nd, and Big brother Yang would also be ranked 1st. The red-robed girl still strongly supported her big brother Yang. More and more people started to join in the discussion. The white-robed man cupped his fists in front of everyone in a modest manner, but his proud and complacent eyes made it clear that he would be ranked 1st. Ning Cheng also understood. This person should be Lung Yang, who scored 94 points in the preliminary written examination. He remembered that Shuiyu, who had flown down from the restaurant. At that time he was also wearing a white robe, and could not help but mutter, "Sure enough, if you want to show off, then wear white robes." Ah. What do you mean show off wearing white robes? Ji Luofei had just asked, when she heard someone speak out in a loud voice. The 5th array formation screen is lit up. The results of the 5th written examination are about to come out. Chapter 94. Ning Cheng saw that Ji Luofei was still looking at him, and said, "I say, that white-robed guy, he only scored 94 points and wants to take the 1st place. He is simply dreaming." Ji Luofei asked in doubt. "But 94 points is indeed very high. I saw that the 2nd place only scored 85 points, and the 3rd and 4th place both scored 70 points. Speaking till here, Ji Luofei seemed to understand the meaning of Ning Cheng's words, and quickly asked, "You mean to say that in the 5th written test, someone scored even higher than 94 points? But I just heard people say that the 5th written test is even more difficult than the previous 4. How can someone score more than 94 points? If there really is such a person, then wouldn't it be too heaven-defying?" Ji Luofei, who was standing at the side, could hear it very clearly. Nearly 5,000 pages of content were memorized in just 3 hours, moreover without using spiritual sense. Was this something that an ordinary person could achieve? Ning Cheng was somewhat embarrassed as he touched his hair and said, "It is not really heaven-defying, but that person is me. It seems that the next time I will also have to get a set of white robes to wear, and then..." Then Ning Cheng suddenly copied Lung Yang's actions, and cupped his hands towards Ji Luofei and said, "The results of the 5th written test have not come out yet. I cannot say that I will definitely take the 1st place." Ning Cheng suddenly felt that Lung Yang's act was understandable. He was able to act in front of Ji Luofei, and was somewhat proud of himself. Thinking that Lung Yang was able to act in front of so many people, he must be even more proud of himself. Ji Luofei almost laughed out loud. Because of Ning Cheng's joke, her unpleasant thoughts of returning to the Moze city had already disappeared without a trace. "Sister Luofei, what about your test?" Zhu Mu'er did not know where she came from, but when she saw Ningcheng, she immediately knew that the woman beside Ningcheng was Ji Luofei. Ji Luofei, seeing Zhu Mu'er, quickly said, "The fifth test was not me, it was Xiaocheng." "Oh, this is too bad, there is no hope. I also did not do well in the test. If I had known earlier, I would have read more of my father's medicine books. I would not have regretted it now," Zhu Mu'er said in annoyance. Saying that, she turned to Ning Xiaocheng and said, "Ning Xiaocheng, when you meet sect head Yin, just say that you made some mistakes, lest he thinks that he wasted 2 places. Just now he was muttering in front of me for a long time, and I finally got rid of him." Ji Luofei unexpectedly spoke up in a good mood. "Elder sister Mu'er, Xiaocheng said that he took the first place in the 5th written exam. You don't have to be too disappointed." Perhaps it was because Ji Luofei rarely told jokes, but when Zhu Mu'er heard Ji Luofei's joke, she unexpectedly froze for a moment. After a long time, she pointed at Ningcheng and laughed. "You said that Ning Xiaocheng was the first in the 5th written exam. Haha, this is just too funny." Zhu Mu'er was so pleased with herself that she forgot herself. When she came back to her senses, there were already countless eyes staring at her. How shameless. Senior brother Yang is here, and there are still people who dare to say they are number 1. I'm just praising myself. There are many people like that. Senior apprentice brother Lung, that person is really shameless. He even dared to say that he was the first in the preliminary round. At the side of Lung Yiyang, there were already some people who were not happy with Ningcheng's words. "I think he said first place in the 5th match." Lung Yiyang waved his hand and said with a dull expression, "This kind of people are everywhere. There is no need to care about it. The more you care about it, the more he thinks that he is great. If he knew that he was a clown, he would not have said such words." "Is that so? Maybe he really is the first?" A different voice sounded out from the surrounding people. Lung Yiyang's complexion changed, and then he saw a cultivator wearing a white robe like him. But his cultivation was higher than his own, at least he could not see it. "This friend, I am just here to discuss with my friends." Lung Yiyang's words had not yet finished, when he was once again interrupted by this person. "You and your friends are not talking about me, but I am here to talk, isn't that right? You did not talk about me, but you are just a bit more than junior apprentice, Sister Naixin. There is nothing to be proud of. The semi-finals are not over yet. Don't you feel ashamed to say something else at this time?" Originally he was here to help Ling Naixin fight against the injustice. Lung Yiyang's mouth twitched a few times, although he did not speak, but his eyes showed that even if he fought against the injustice, his score was still higher than Ling Naixin's. Not far away, a young girl wearing a purple robe was looking at the lively scene, and was somewhat speechless as she shook her head. A young girl beside her spoke with disdain. "This Lung Yiyang only scored a few points higher in the first round of the written exam. The semi-finals have not even started, and he is already showing off here. Isn't it a bit too early?" The purple-robed young girl smiled and said, "Compared to the person who said that he would be the first in the 5th round, Lung Yiyang is quite low-key." "That's also true. Now there are all kinds of people, and all kinds of people with thick skin exist." The young girl next to her nodded in agreement. "I'm sorry, Ning Xiaocheng, it seems that I have brought some trouble to you." Zhu Mu'er knew that her voice a moment ago was really too loud. Ningcheng waved his hand and said, "What you said a moment ago was not wrong. I really am the first." The results would soon come out. Ningcheng felt that there was no need for him to hide it. "What?" Zhu Mu'er almost thought that Ningcheng was confused by her words. "Compared to the upcoming trouble, the trouble that you brought is simply not a problem at all." As Ningcheng finished, his expression was calm as he stared at Lan Yinyu, who was walking towards him. A moment ago the commotion here was too big. Many people were looking in this direction. Since Lan Yinyu was here looking at the list, it was not surprising for her to see him. "You not only live a long life, but also have more methods than I thought. You can even come to the Hua continent. I really underestimated you." Lan Yinyu's tone was incomparably cold. If this place was not the Moze Grand Plaza, she would have already started on Ningcheng. But even if she did not start now, since she had found Ningcheng, then he would not be able to escape from her hands. This time she would personally make a move on him. The list for the 5th round of the written exam is out. A sudden voice interrupted the confrontation between Ning Cheng and Lan Yinyu. All the people's gazes were focused on the fifth huge array formation projection screen. As a row of names appeared on the screen. First place Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng, 100 points. Someone had already read out the name of the first place. Each of the 5 rounds of the written exam had a first place. So the people might pay attention to the first place, but they would absolutely not pay attention to the rest of the names. But now that Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng's name was read out, it immediately attracted everyone's attention. No one was in the mood to pay attention to who was in the second place. What attracted everyone's attention was not Ning Xiaocheng's name, but rather the 100 points behind it. This was an unprecedented high score, and was also the first person to score 100 points. In the previous 4 rounds no one had ever scored more than 100 points. Before all the people could start talking, a high decibel scream sounded out. Ning Xiaocheng, are you really the first? Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng, that's right, it is you the first, haha, you are the first. Zhu Mu'er's emotions were completely out of control. She had thought that Ji Luofei and Ning Cheng were just joking. But now she knew that it was not just a joke, it was even more real than real gold. It was not until this time that the surrounding crowd broke out into a variety of noises and discussions. Zhu Mu'er's scream unexpectedly did not seem to be out of place in the crowd. The first place is Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng. How come I have never heard of this Huayu Academy? It should be a small academy. The third-ranked Gong Junming from before represented a 2-star academy. This Ning Xiaocheng probably represents a low-level academy to participate in the tournament. That Gong Jun only scored 76 points. How can he be compared with Ning Xiaocheng? Ning Xiaocheng scored 100 points. This is the first place in the 5 rounds. Who was the one who said that the first place would definitely be Leng Yiyang? Now you have been slapped in the face. That's right, a moment ago I was kind enough to hear that Ning Xiaocheng was here. Who is this Ning Xiaocheng? Ji Luofei stared blankly at the 5th big screen with the name on it, and did not react for a long time. The difficulty of the written exam was something that even she felt her scalp tingle, but Ning Cheng actually scored 100 points. It was simply too outrageous. It turned out that what he had said to her was true, not even half a word was false, and she was even joking with him because of Ning Cheng. At this time the 6th huge projection screen showed the first place. Impressively it was Huayu Academy's disciple Ning Xiaocheng who scored 100 points. Someone looked at the 6th huge projection screen and said, First place Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng, 100 points. Second place Luoho Academy's Leng Yiyang, 94 points. Third place Thunder Academy's Ling Naixin, 85 points. Fourth place Clear Sky Academy's Gong Jun, 76 points. Fifth place Falling Star Academy's Yuan Liang, 74 points. Sixth place Thunder Academy's Shi Men Gao, 71 points. Seventh place Godwind Academy's Meng Jing Xiu, 71 points. Hey, how come in the top 7 the Godwind Academy only has a 7th place? Hearing the other people reading the rankings, some people felt that the Godwind Academy's ranking was a bit too bad. As for the top 7 being the participants from the 5-star academies, no one felt that it was strange. That Ning Xiaocheng who took the first place would soon become a disciple of a 5-star academy. Are you Ning Xiaocheng? Lan Yinyu frowned as she stared at Ning Cheng in front of her. She suddenly had a bad feeling in her heart. If Ning Xiaocheng was the first place, then she absolutely would not be able to kill Ning Xiaocheng. It would not take long. Ning Xiaocheng would definitely be snatched away by the 5-star academies. A student from a 5-star academy, she was just a true condensation cultivator from the Ping continent. She would not dare to deal with him. At this moment, she even regretted killing Ning Cheng. Chapter 95. Where is Huayu Sect? Who is in charge of Huayu Sect? When the results of the 5th round of the written exam came out, Huayu Sect became the hottest topic. In the entire Missouri Zay Grand Square, everyone was asking where the Huayu Sect was. Those who inquired about the Huayu faction, in addition to some sects who wanted to befriend them, or some cultivators who wanted to join the Huayu faction, were the 5 major 5-star sects. If the 5-star academies wanted to find Ning Xiaocheng, who had obtained the first place in the written exam, Then they would have to find the Huayu Academy. Ningcheng looked at Lan Yinyu, whose face was constantly changing, and spoke in a cold voice. Fuck off, we will slowly settle our accounts later. Lan Yinyu's complexion abruptly changed. The ant in her eyes actually dared to tell her to scram. But when she thought that Ningcheng was about to become a disciple of a 5-star academy, she couldn't help but shiver. Her position in the Falling Star Academy came from the few students with pure spiritual roots that she had brought to the Falling Star Academy, and not because she herself had any relationship with the Falling Star Academy. If Ningcheng, as a student of a 5-star academy, wanted to hold her accountable, then even the Falling Star Academy would not be able to protect her. Moreover, Annie was Ningcheng's cousin. Once she knew the truth of the matter, what would Annie do? Lan Yinyu did not dare to continue to think about it. Yinyu, you are here. Accompany me to the Huayu Academy's encampment. This time the Huayu Academy has sent out a student named Ning Xiaocheng. Our Falling Star Academy. A man with the cultivation of late-stage essence building realm came over, wearing the emblem of the Falling Star Academy. What happened to you? He had not even finished speaking when this essence-building cultivator saw that something was wrong with Lan Yinyu, and immediately reached out to grab Lan Yinyu's wrist. Lan Yinyu waved her hand. Senior apprentice brother Hihong, please conduct yourself with dignity. This essence-building cultivator called Hihong was rejected by Lan Yinyu, but he was not angry. Rather, he stared at Ningcheng, who was opposite of Lan Yinyu, and spoke in a cold voice. Did you make junior apprentice sister Yinyu angry a moment ago? Immediately kowtow and apologized to junior sister Xiang Yinyu. If not for the Moze Grand Plaza strictly forbidding fighting, Hihong would have already taken the initiative to capture Ningcheng. Ningcheng spoke with disdain. Looking for someone to go on a date was rejected, and now you want to take advantage of this father's body? Your dog eyes must be blind. Before, Ningcheng did not dare to cause a ruckus at the entrance of the Falling Star Academy, because he was too clear about his own identity. Once he caused a ruckus, then he would be captured and killed. It would be like a soap bubble popping. There would not be even half a ripple. But now it was different. He was the first in the preliminary list. No one dared to casually blow him away, like he was a soap bubble. Courting death. Even if Hihong could endure it, he could not stand a mere low-leveled cultivator ridiculing and scolding him. As he raised his hand to grab Ningcheng, even if he wanted to condemn him for starting a fight in the Grand Plaza, he also had an excuse. The opposite party was just a low-leveled cultivator, who dared to curse him, an essence-building senior. Ningcheng, on seeing Hihong make his move, did not have even half a shred of hesitation. The spear behind his back was already in his hands. He must make this Hihong look good. Wait until he crippled Hihong's hand with this spear. He believed that after this shot, the person in charge would also come. At that time, he would report his name, and he would definitely not suffer too much. Stop! A powerful aura surged over. Hihong's complexion immediately changed, as he abruptly stopped his palm that was about to explode towards Ningcheng. Hihong did not continue to make his move. Ningcheng also would not take the initiative to use his spear. If Hihong had already stopped, and he still wanted to take the initiative to provoke him, then even if he was in the right, he would not be in the right. Even if he did not make a move, he still needed to have absolute strength. As long as you have the strength, then even if you made the first move, other people would not ask you for the reason. Even if you said that the other party was not pleasing to the eye, no one would say that the reason was wrong. Even if other people would echo and say that, that's right, this guy did not look pleasing to the eye. Unfortunately, he currently did not have that kind of strength. Falling Star Academy's Hihong greets Deacon Jia. Hihong quickly cupped his hands in greeting. He knew that in front of this Deacon Jia, he was simply not worth anything. This Deacon Jia was called Jia Han, and was one of the deacons of the Moze City's Grand Plaza, with the cultivation of profound congealing 6th level. He simply could not be compared to him. You are an essence-building cultivator from the Falling Star Academy. Don't you know that fighting is not allowed in the Moze Grand Plaza? Although this Jia Han was questioning Hihong, but his tone had already softened, apparently because Hihong was a person from the Falling Star Academy. But Ningcheng was simply an insignificant cultivator with the cultivation of true condensation 1st level. Jia Han finished and coldly stared at Ning Cheng. And you even dare to take out an artifact in the Moze Grand Plaza. You really have a lot of courage. Ning Cheng calmly put the spear on his back again, and cupped his fists towards Jia Han and said, Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng greets Deacon Jia. Because this person wanted to attack me for no reason at all, I pulled out the spear in order to defend myself. Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng did not use this name. Ning Cheng was not that stupid. Are you Ning Xiaocheng? The Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng who obtained the first place in the 5th written exam? Jia Han was also moved as he asked. Of course he is Ning Xiaocheng. He is one of the 2 people from the Huayu Academy who participated in the 5th written exam. The other one is me. Zhu Mu'er finally calmed down. When she spoke she was no longer startled. At least she knew that she had to bring herself out. Ning Cheng very respectfully said, Yes, this junior is Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng. Are you Ning Xiaocheng? He Hong was also shocked. He did not think that his luck would be so bad. He just wanted to act cool in front of the person he liked, and casually found the guy who obtained the first place in the written exam. Now he was not afraid of Ning Xiaocheng, but when Ning Xiaocheng entered a 5-star academy, then he would definitely ask him why he picked a fight with him for no reason at all. Lung Yiyang, who was not far away, was also shocked. He did not think that the person who said that he was the first would really be the first. Not only was he the first, but he also obtained the first place with a 100% score. He thought of the words that he had said before, and in his heart he could not wait to immediately pinch this Ning Xiaocheng who had made him lose face. Now he only hoped that no one would remember what he had said not long ago. But things did not go as he wished. The white-robed cultivator who had helped Ling Naixin before stared at him and said in a sarcastic tone, Not long ago there were people who ridiculed the person who obtained the first place and thought that he was great, and was just a clown. He really thought that he was great. He really is a clown, haha. When this white-robed cultivator spoke, he stared at Lung Yiyang, until Lung Yiyang's face turned into the color of a pig's liver. Only then did he laugh, and turned away. While walking away, he also mimicked the words that Lung Yiyang had said before. The results of the 5th round have not yet come out. It is still too early to say that he is the first. Haha, it really is too early, at least he has some self-awareness. Naixin, this Ning Xiaocheng really is the first, ah. The girl who had previously disdained Lung Yiyang with a 94% score exclaimed. The face of the purple-robed girl called Naixin also turned slightly red and said, I was wrong a moment ago. I thought that that person had a thick face. I did not think that he really had this kind of ability. Compared to the dispute in Ningcheng, the Moze Grand Plaza was overcrowded with people from the Huayu Academy. If not for waiting for Zhu Mu'er to say a few words, the Huayu Academy's sect head Bo would have already left. But when Zhu Mu'er came out, she just casually said a few words to him, and then hurriedly ran away. Bo, who was depressed, came to know that the Huayu Academy had sent out the first place, but he had never heard of this Ning Xiaocheng. But after carefully thinking about it, he remembered that this Ning Xiaocheng was the one who had asked Zhu Mu'er for the second place. He actually got the first place? When Bo saw that Ning Xiaocheng was indeed the first place, he was ecstatic in his heart. The Huayu Academy had obtained the first place. He did not need to look for Zhu Mu'er's father to refine pills. He definitely had the essence-building pills. Not only that, there were even more rewards. The Huayu Academy could even be promoted to a 3-star academy. But he had only met Ning Xiaocheng once, and was not familiar with him. Just when Bo wanted to look for Ning Xiaocheng, he found that his station was already surrounded. Some of the people who knew Bo came to congratulate him, but most of them came to ask if the Huayu Academy was still recruiting disciples. Bo only brought 2 disciples to the Moze Grand Plaza. 3 people were simply not enough to entertain them. It was not until the people from the 5-star academies arrived that the order of the Huayu Academy was restored. Sect Head I am Ma Ji from the Clear Sky Academy. The atmosphere of the Huayu Academy is really different. The Falling Star Academy's Chilakong specially came to congratulate Sect Head Although the people from the 5-star academies were very polite, Bo did not dare to neglect them for even half a moment, and hurriedly greeted them one by one, and after a long time, the representatives of the 5-star academies finally settled down. Sect Head I do not know if your academy's Ning Xiaocheng who obtained the first place is here? My Luohua 5-star academy is most eager to recruit a genius like Ning Xiaocheng. Leng Yiyang, who was ranked second in the preliminary round, is a good example. I believe that the Huayu Academy would also be able to rise to the next level because of Ning Xiaocheng. The representative of the Luohua Academy could not help but speak out. Deacon Qi, isn't it a bit inappropriate to say these words now? We just came here to sit down. Which academy Ning Xiaocheng will choose, it will be decided in the selection meeting of the 5-star academies. It will be up to him to decide. The representative of the God-Wind Academy immediately said in a dissatisfied manner. The God-Wind Academy was not among the top few in the preliminary round. No matter from what perspective, it was disadvantageous to the God-Wind Academy. In the view of all the representatives from the 5-star academies, Ning Xiaocheng, who was able to obtain 100 points in the preliminary round, was definitely a genius. Generally speaking, geniuses with spiritual roots were not bad. It could be seen from the memory test. The higher the spiritual root, the higher the score. The higher the comprehension and the ability to react, the higher the score. Whether it was the spiritual root or the comprehension, these were the basic conditions for cultivation. The Clear Sky Academy had made an exception for the examinee Gong Jun, who was admitted to the Clear Sky Academy. Gong Jun had scored 76 points. The result of the spiritual root test showed that he had a dual spiritual root. Moreover, his main spiritual root was already white in color. Even if these were not counted, whichever academy recruited the cultivator who obtained the first place in the preliminary round, the reputation of that academy would greatly rise, which would greatly benefit the upcoming competition for the 6-star academies. Moreover, these reasons were not the most important. The most important reason was that in the Hua Continent selection meeting for the 6-star academies, there would be a written memory test. A person with the best memory test, whichever 5-star academy he entered, that 5-star academy would have a certain advantage in the competition for the 6-star academies. Chapter 96. Forlorn Inu. The ant in her eyes told her to get lost. It was really difficult for her to accept. If it was another place, she would have already slapped Ning Cheng to death. Unfortunately, she had to get lost. She really could not figure out how Ning Cheng, a qi-gathering cultivator, could come to the Hua Continent, and how he was able to score 100 points in the 5th written exam. Lan Yinyu, who had been looking forward to the tournament of the 5-star academies, was not in the mood to do so. She knew that Ning Cheng's spiritual root was very poor, but the tournament of the 5-star academies was not only about fighting, but also about other things. Among them, the written exam was one of the most important events in the tournament. Ning Cheng's written exam results were very strong. The 5-star academies would definitely rush to recruit him, even if Ning Cheng's spiritual root was trash. Lan Yinyu walked away. He Hong could only dejectedly leave. Fortunately, Jia Han took into consideration the face of the Falling Star Academy, and did not do anything to He Hong. Ning Cheng also knew that he could not do anything to He Hong. He Hong was an essence-building cultivator from the Falling Star Academy. Unless his strength was a lot stronger than He Hong, he could take the opportunity to teach the opposite party a lesson. Letting an outsider take action was simply not realistic. Jia Han smiled at Ning Cheng and said, "Young man, you are good. To be able to get the first place in the preliminary round, you have a promising future." In accordance with the Hua Continent's unified enrollment of the 5-star academies, after the preliminary round, the top 10 will be able to join the 5-star academies, and then proceed to the semifinals. I wish you good luck. After saying that, Jia Han's figure flashed and disappeared. Zhu Mu'er waited for Jia Han to leave, and immediately said with excitement, "Ning Xiaocheng, even Deacon Jia Han congratulates you. Deacon Jia is a profound congealing master, and will definitely look after you in the future." Ning Qing knew that Zhu Mu'er was dreaming. Jia Han had only said a sentence to wish him good luck, but had never said anything about looking for him in the future. His first place in the preliminary round was not worth it for Jia Han to befriend him. A moment ago Jia Han had said a sentence to wish him good luck, but it was just a casual remark. If he took it seriously, then he would be a fool. Zhu Mu'er suddenly said, Ning Xiaocheng, among the top 10 in the preliminary round, you seem to be the only one who has not joined a 5-star academy. The other 9 people are already the disciples of a 5-star academy. Ning Cheng then took note of the first 10 names on the 6th big screen. It really was his origin. The other 9 were indeed the disciples of a 5-star academy. At this time, the sound tablet in the Missouri's A Grand Square suddenly sounded out. The preliminary round is now completely over. The 5 preliminary written exams have determined 1,000 outstanding disciples. The finals will be held in 10 days. In accordance with the rules before the competition, the top 10 in the preliminary round can choose to join a 5-star academy. Because the cultivators from the 2nd to 10th place in the preliminary round had already joined the major 5-star academies, only Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng had not yet chosen a 5-star academy. Now I would like to invite the Huayu Academy's head Yinbo and the Huayu Academy's disciple Ning Xiaocheng to come to the main altar in the middle of the square and choose a 5-star academy to join. The main altar has been established. Ning Xiaocheng, you have to hurry up. For Ning Cheng to choose a 5-star academy, Zhu Mu'er was even more anxious than Ning Xiaocheng. Even after saying that, Zhu Mu'er still did not feel relieved, and once again whispered in Ning Cheng's ear, "Remember to ask for more benefits. You are the first in the written exam. Even if your spiritual route is worse, the 5-star academies would definitely fight for you." 2 years later in the tournament of the 5-star academies, the first round would be the written exam. Now that those 5-star academies want you, it is because they want to compete for the 6-star academy in 2 years. Originally Ning Cheng was still a bit nervous, but after listening to Zhu Mu'er's words, he immediately understood. He was still worried about the problem of his poor spiritual route. If his spiritual route was poor, then even if he was the first in the written exam, he estimated that he would not necessarily be valued by the other people. He did not expect that the 5-star academies would choose their disciples based on their memory. It was because they wanted to compete for the 6-star academy in 2 years. Since that was the case, what else was he worried about? Ning Cheng saw that the main altar in the middle of the square was already filled with people. The main altar was divided into 5 sections. Each section had a sign of a 5-star academy on it. Ning Cheng walked towards Ji Luofei and grabbed Ji Luofei's hand. Ji Luofei's face turned red and wanted to urge Ning Cheng to hurry up. But she heard Ning Cheng whisper in her ear, "Help me put this away and give it back to me later." After greeting Ji Luofei, he stuffed a storage bag into Ji Luofei's hands and then quickly walked towards the main altar in the middle of the square. This storage bag was filled with things that Ning Cheng felt were more precious, including the Imperial Jade Seal, the 5 Elements Treasure Fall Copper Coin, the Soul Wood and so on. He had to go to the main altar to face the experts who were several times stronger than him. In case he ended up being inspected, these things would not be safe on his body. As for the mysterious yellow bead, Ning Cheng had no other way. It was impossible for him to take out the mysterious yellow bead. Fortunately, he had obtained a part of the mysterious yellow origin, and the mysterious yellow bead was one with him. Plus he was now the first, and was not going to be inspected. As such, the mysterious yellow bead should be safe and sound. Ning Cheng had not even reached the main altar when Yinbo excitedly greeted him. While rubbing his hands, he spoke in a low voice. "Elder brother Ning, I really did not expect that you would help my Huayu Academy to get the first place. I really..." Ning Cheng understood Yinbo's excitement. He patted Yinbo's hand and said, "Now I am still a disciple of the Huayu Academy, while you are the academy head of the Huayu Academy. Try to maintain a bit of the demeanor of the academy head. Since I took the quota for the Huayu Academy, then the Huayu Academy should get some rewards." Some of the people with high cultivations on the main altar obviously heard Ning Cheng's words, but everyone did not care about it. After all, the disciples were selected in this way. If all the people were selected through the 5-star academies, and then took the written test, then the 5-star academies would not have so much energy. What's more, the other academies also needed to recruit some disciples. For the Huayu Academy to be able to select Ning Xiaocheng, it showed that the Huayu Academy had a good vision. As such, they deserved the rewards. Seeing Ning Cheng and the Huayu Academy's academy head Yinbo walk up to the main altar, The crowd of onlookers around the public square suddenly issued out a variety of annoyed voices. Ning Xiaocheng was originally him, I know. He came to our Golden Feather Academy to ask for a quota, but we did not give it to him. If I had known earlier, then I would have given it to him, alas. I also know he also went to our Jade Cauldron Academy's station. Our Colored Light Academy's Ning Xiaocheng also went there, what a pity. Unfortunately, there were a lot of voices because Ning Cheng, in order to find a quota for the preliminary round, had to go to a lot of places. But he was rejected without exception. When the people heard that he had a multi-line hybrid spiritual root, they simply did not give him a chance. How can Ning Cheng come here? Ji Yao he also saw Ning Cheng and was immediately shocked. Then she understood that Ning Cheng was that Ning Xiaocheng who had obtained the first place. After understanding that Ning Cheng was Ning Xiaocheng, Ji Yao he's heart was filled with a storm. She was not shocked because Ning Cheng had obtained the first place in the written test, but because Ning Cheng already had the cultivation of true condensation first level. When she had first seen Ning Cheng only had a rubbish four-line hybrid spiritual root. With this kind of qualification, how could he advance to the true condensation first level so quickly? There was definitely a problem. Ji Yao he and Lan Yinyu were different. Lan Yinyu still had the cultivation of true condensation realm. Even if Ning Cheng did not conceal his cultivation level, she could only vaguely feel Ning Cheng's cultivation level. She had a preconceived notion, and absolutely did not believe that Ning Cheng was a cultivator in the true condensation realm, so she simply did not care about it. Ji Yao he was a cultivator in the essence building realm, and since Ning Cheng did not conceal his cultivation level, she could see that Ning Cheng had the cultivation level of true condensation first level. After understanding that Ning Cheng had the cultivation level of true condensation first level, Ji Yao he's heart suddenly started to beat wildly. Ning Cheng absolutely had a huge opportunity, otherwise it would be impossible for him to advance to the true condensation first level so quickly. At this moment, she almost focused all of her attention on Ning Cheng. She wanted to know how Ning Cheng would explain his cultivation progress. Ning Cheng walked up to the large main altar and cupped his fists as he turned around and said, "Ning Xiaocheng greets the seniors." He did not know any of the people on the altar, but he knew that the people on the altar were not simple characters. They were all incomparably powerful existences. He estimated that the worst of them were essence-building cultivators. Ning Cheng had just finished greeting them when he felt countless spiritual consciousness sweep over him. This made Ning Cheng secretly startled. Fortunately, he had already taken away the things in the storage bag. Otherwise, the things in the storage bag would not have been exposed. He really did not know for sure. Not bad, not bad. Compared to those geniuses with pure spiritual roots, they are not the least bit worse. An old man sitting under the sign of the Clear Sky Academy commented with a smile, and then spoke to Ning Cheng in a pleasant manner. "You can sit down first. I am a Tier 4 Talisman Grand Master from the Clear Sky Academy, Ming Hao Qua. Your performance on the stage was very calm. Moreover, your memory is also very strong. No matter what kind of spiritual root you have, the door of my Clear Sky Academy is always open for you." What is the use of talismans? Ning Xiaocheng's memory of spiritual grasses is very clear. Only by joining my Luoho Academy would you be able to display your full potential. Ning Xiaocheng, I am Qing Xian from the Luoho Academy. I can let you become a disciple of a pill master from my Luoho Academy. Not waiting for Ming Hao Qua from the Clear Sky Academy to finish speaking, a middle-aged cultivator from the Luoho Academy interrupted Ming Hao Qua's words. Then the people from the Falling Star Academy, the God Wind Academy and the Thunder Academy began to talk about the benefits of joining their respective academies to Ning Cheng, and even promised Ning Cheng a variety of things. Ning Cheng was very clear in his heart that these old guys would burn the bridge after crossing the river. Do not look at how polite they were to him, a true condensation first-level cultivator. It was absolutely not because his qualifications were good. Moreover, even if he had the qualifications of a pure spiritual root, he estimated that it would still be impossible for so many people to snatch him. The reason for this was to cope with the upcoming competition for the 6-star academies. As long as they could get him, it would mean that they would be able to get a lot of points in the written exam. At this moment in the eyes of others, he was just a score. What they were trying to snatch was not Ningcheng, but to compete for the score of the 6-star Academy assessment. Once the 6-star Academy was selected, then where would Ningcheng go? These old guys would absolutely not even look at him in the eye. Understanding this point, Ningcheng's performance was even more calm. He once again cupped his fists and respectfully said, "Thank you seniors for your love for this junior. This junior had originally intended to go to the Clear Sky 5-star Academy. Yes, coming to our Clear Sky 5-star Academy is the right choice. You will absolutely not regret it." When Ming Haokua heard Ningcheng's words, he immediately stood up with a smile on his face. He had already planned to welcome Ningcheng to join them. Ningcheng deliberately sighed and said, "In order to enter the Clear Sky 5-star Academy, I deliberately looked for a Clear Sky Command medallion. But when I went to register, the Clear Sky Command medallion was confiscated by the Clear Sky Academy. Moreover, they even taught me a lesson. Fortunately, I was very tactful, and quickly did not want the Clear Sky Command medallion, and thus escaped a calamity." What? Which bastard actually dared to not take away the Clear Sky Command medallion, and even drove away the first place in the preliminary round? Your father will peel off his skin. Ming Haokua almost jumped up 3 feet high. This was too much. Ningcheng sneered in his heart. "What you owe this father, I will slowly pay you back with interest, so that you will not lose your grandfather's Clear Sky Command medallion." You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.